The 2017 Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is being brought to you live by Toyota.
Final day of the Classic, the Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Host city, the Bayou City, Houston, Texas. What a great host city has been. What a great sports town it is to host this final day, this all-important, most important day of them all in the world of bass fishing. No doubt about it. Lake Conroe, what a venue to test for the best in the world. This thing has been a booger bear to figure out for all of these anglers here, and so far the man who started the day with the lead has kept the lead. Brent Ehrler standing good right now, but still got plenty of headroom there in that live well of his. He's got some space to upgrade.
Tommy,
if you know what I mean.
I'm not going to lie. This has not only been a bear for the anglers out there, it's kind of been a bear for the commentators, because every hour of this tournament has truly been one of the most unpredictable that I have ever covered with you guys. Let's rewind to earlier this morning. The very first hook set for Mike Iaconelli, and it is a Conroe, Texas stud. Mike Iaconelli with the biggest bass that we have ever captured on Bassmaster Live.
Without a doubt, without question, and this was the bombshell of the early morning. Iaconelli falling out of the top 5 at the end of the day yesterday, and this is his fight back. Started very early, and everything that he's been doing so far has sort of fallen by the wayside, and now he gets on something that is extraordinary.
If you are paying attention to Bass Track. Davey Height and I have been staring at Bass Track any chance we get. Iaconelli has the most room to move right now. He only has 2 fish in the live well, but one of them is that right there, well over 9 pounds.
You know, we talked yesterday about, man, we need a camera on this guy. We've only got so many cameras, and you can only spread them out so much, but you had to know we needed a camera on Mike Iaconelli. Great, we got that catch, the biggest fish caught on live. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not the last one. Either Iaconelli or one of the other guys in the top 5 or so will catch another big one this afternoon. Carolina rig of all things. Who would have thought it?
Is there any way we could hear the scream?
Well, yeah, you know what?
I just want to hear the scream. We'll stop talking for the scream.
We will.
Come on.
Lord, thank you.
Oh, no.
I can win this. That's 10 pounds. I just made up the difference. Mark Zona. This one's for you.
That's it right there.
He had been subdued up until this point.
That is the audio signature for this Geico Bassmaster Classic so far. Let's take a look at our map signature with the Humminbird lay of the lake.
Exactly right. And Tommy Sanders, we're actually starting on the north end of the lake right now and flying south. You see Brent Ehrler, Steve Kennedy having a very solid day. And another thing we just noticed right there, Iaconelli has made that move back north like he did yesterday. As we go down towards the dam, Edwin Eavers with a very slow day. Jordan Lee making big moves each hour. From there, Bradley Roy, James Elam, all the way back down to near our takeoff site. Taking a peek right there at Dave Lefevre, also with an uncharacteristic day so far.
It totally amazed me he's not catching them. He had been catching them so easy, laid off of his fish yesterday at 10:30. Just totally crazy. The thing, though, that, like I mentioned this morning, we learn more and more watching these guys and where they're catching them. I can't remember a lake. We've seen guys move all the way up the lake as far north as you can go, fishing right up against the dam down south, but everyone on the west side of the lake. Every single competitor today has been on the west side of the lake. Yesterday afternoon it was that way.
I'm going to throw one to Ron Moore real quick as we sit here in the expo, and I'm going to tell you the expo is on fire.
Crackling in here. It is crackling.
Ron Moore made a comment this morning. Really, when we started our broadcast early, he made the comment, look, you all got, and we all do, we like to focus on fish the size of Mike Iaconelli's. We like to focus on fish that Brent Ehrler caught on day number 1. Ron Moore made the comment, y'all need to focus on just a 16 to a 16 and a half inch bass. Judging by the numbers that we looked at on day 2, he said a keeper, a simple keeper is going to be so critical by the end of this tournament. Ron Moore, right now you are a genius. Look at him.
He's pretty darn smart. Oh. He likes that look right there.
What an angel, baby.
Why, thank you, Mark.
Don't worry about it, Ron.
Well,
I'll be wrong in 5 minutes.
We're not going to. Yeah, we're gonna hit right now our Toyota midday report right at this point right here, because we are halfway through the most important day of the year. What has happened so far out there on the water? Edwin Eavers, everyone expected him to jump out to a big lead, to pass everybody going away from him in the first hour.
Exactly right, and here's the surprise of this. Edwin Eavers had basically done work by 9 o'clock every day of this event, looked at us yesterday and said, y'all better get ready for the first hour tomorrow. Well, that bass right there is all he has in his live well right now.
And he was your pick.
No doubt. How could he not be? I mean, in all honesty.
Yep.
That, to me, he was the biggest layup coming into this tournament, looking at all of us on media day saying, guys, I got this whole thing figured out. I think one bass in the live well for Edwin Eavers, and his morning bite proving so critical all week long. 8 of his 10 bass have come in the first hour. From there, you have to keep your eye on Michael Iaconelli right now. You can't show this enough. The biggest bass we've ever had on Bassmaster Live, really in about the first hour of competition earlier this morning.
Got 6.5 pounds back to start his day today. It was going to be a battle for him all day long. He was going to have something extraordinary to happen in order to get back in the conversation for the winning of the Bassmaster Classic, which would be his second classic, basically second on the Gulf Coast, because he won in Louisiana as well.
You know, this is a game-changer fish. We talked to him yesterday, and he said, the only chance I've got to win this event is to fish on the south end of the lake. I'm not going up there, I'm not going up there. And that was his plan. I truly believe that, because he thought, man, if I can just catch a 6 or 7. Because if you remember, I said, what's the biggest fish you've caught here this week? Not in the tournament, in practice, anything. Because I was thinking that it was going to take a 9-pounder. He hadn't caught one that big. He caught it this morning, and it changed the plan.
What a Carolina rig fish right there, one of the biggest we have seen. There, we're going to slide back on up the lake with your leader of the Bassmaster Classic. Right now, your unofficial leader, Brent Ehlers. And here's the thing, guys. We'll go back to Ron Moore on this. Day number 1, day number 2, Ehlers has been very solid and steady with 3.5 to 4 pound fish with one giant mixed in there. Not the case today, but Ehlers right now sitting with a 5 bass limit.
The thing that I learned yesterday from Brent, he said he was a nervous wreck, but he seemed so focused. He knew the answer. Every little thing we asked him, he had a quick answer. So we said, what do you think you need to catch tomorrow? He said 18 pounds. Just that quick, 18 pounds. Well, it's very similar. He and Iaconelli, they both have done what they needed to do to win. Ehlers needed a limit, but he needs one, a solid one, but maybe not a giant. Iaconelli needed a giant. Now he needs to catch those fish that Ronnie Moore was talking about.
I'm going to throw it to you right now. We're looking at Brent Ehlers sitting with 5 fish, unofficially 12 pounds. Can he squeak by that or no? No way.
I don't think so. But I think he'll catch a good fish. He's fishing so good. And we've talked about all the craziness this week, up and down here and there. He has led every day. He has led every single day. He's the only one. He's had to claw his way back through the day. He's done better throughout the day.
If he caught him in the morning before, why wouldn't he catch him in the afternoon here at Conroe? Come on. Everything turns around every day. Up is down and down is up. That's what Conroe is all about day to day.
And here's really the other side of it is Brent Ehlers. This was, to what you're looking at right here, to a guy leading the Bassmaster Classic, this was not an easy road for him.
It's not easy for anybody, but it was exceptionally anxiety-filled for Brent Ehlers outside the cut, entering the final event, the Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year tournament. Barely made it into that because he wasn't qualified for the Classic at that point, and man, oh man.
Davey, he talked to us last year, said last year was the most frustrating season. Yeah. Now that's relative, that's all relative, but when we got in to the Mille Lacs event, the Angler of the Year event, Brent Ehlers was itchy scratchy.
He really was. I talked to him personally last year several times because I was having the same type of year that he was. We'd have a top 10, or especially like a top 12. We'd make a cut, then the next tournament have an 80th place finish. Had several really, really good tournaments, but instead of having just a not so good tournament, it was up and down roller coaster ride for he and I both. He barely made it into that championship and made advantage of it, but I missed it a little bit. He made the best of it.
No doubt about it, this bass right here, when he landed it, he knew he would made the Classic.
Yeah! 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 He's a giant! Oh my goodness, that thing is so big! Yeah! Yeah! 6.5 pounder! Oh my goodness! Yes! Look at that. That's what I just called. I think I'm going to the Classic. I actually started crying there for a second. I feel like I won the tournament. Oh my goodness. It's such a disastrous season. You know, and I mean, it's not like I'm winning the tournament or anything, but you know, making the Classic is like winning the tournament for me. Freaking emotional. So crazy. So crazy. The way the day started, you know, the way it's ended up, it's unreal. So crazy. Tears of joy right now, buddy. We put so much out there. You know, such hard work. Sometimes it's all for nothing. This week it worked.
Coming into Mille Lacs, you're outside of the cut. And on the last day, you caught a giant mouth that put you over the top and got you here. Talk a little bit about that moment, actually get much into it.
You know, that tournament at Mille Lacs, I wasn't catching them on day 3 at all. It was pretty tough, and I spotted the fish out. I ended up kind of looking around, and I found a couple of rocks and caught a bunch of little ones, and I was culling out, but I still only had about 12. You know, not enough to make the Classic. And I remember thinking that, man, I don't know if there's any big ones around all these little ones. Next cast, I catch the 612 or something. Tournament, and that alone got thinking, you know, to be right here and feeling late in the day, and I mean, it was nuts. It was such an exciting catch, you know, it got me here. Yeah, it was real emotional for me. I'd never done that, and I broke down the boat, crazy. You know, just everything leading up to that and having that happen and you know, go from completely down to up on top of the world in a matter of about 20 minutes. It was crazy.
Bless you.
In total with 1833 for the next 20 minutes. Aaron Martin, vote 8.
You know, I want to talk to you real quick. You listen to how emotional he was during that, but with the exact same cameraman. It's ironic, Eric Kafka was in his boat up at Mille Lacs, also in his boat here today on the final day of the Classic. Here's something I want to tell you about Brent Elam is, look, you are all competitors. You know, Davey, when you were on the Elite Series for as many years as you did it, you're a consummate pro. Never, ever heard a negative word from a single one of your competitors in all those years. He's that guy. If you talk to the competitors, and I mean brutal competitors that you have out here on the road. The other side of Brent Ehlers, he's a good guy. He's just a good guy. That goes along with an incredible angler.
Oh, he really is. It's one of the things that makes me love the sport so much. Obviously, it's been very good to me. I grew up always loving to fish and to catch bass, and to be able to compete, to do that at the highest level was awesome. But we've got a lot of really good guys. I mean, we really do. But as I've gotten to know Brent Ehlers, he is as good as there is out there. And I saw that catch. I was at Mille Lacs. I got emotional too. I mean, I really did, because that stuff's coming from the heart. And him doing that at the last final hours of the final day to get here, and now the final hours of the World Championship, and he's right there.
And he knows he's right there.
Yep. I could hear a little crack in his voice.
Yeah, absolutely. He was about to go over the edge right there a little bit, and why wouldn't he?
The other, was it Monday morning, the first day of Friday, was it the first day or yesterday that Mercer tried to get him to talk a little smack with second place
Wouldn't
guy?
do it. Would not do it.
Wouldn't do it.
He's too good. Wrong. Off camera, he will talk some smack.
Yeah,
trust me.
but right during an event or a couple minutes before takeoff, he's not going to do that to a competitor.
He's not going to make a spectacle out of him in any way.
He's a great guy.
Well, it's just, I don't know what you call it, fate, kismet, karma, whatever. That one fish got him in, and here he is.
And keep in mind, he's no rookie.
No.
No.
To win at the highest level in other events, and then to get emotional about making the Classic, tells you a lot about what it meant to him.
The other side is, if you asked yesterday when we were doing our post-game reports with a lot of the leaders, I asked every single one of the leaders, who do you want to see win this tournament if you can't? He was the most voted upon from his competitors.
Yep.
They literally said Brent Ehlers.
Yeah.
And I thought that was very telling about what his competitors think of him.
Yep.
And it matches up with this Classic, because nothing has fallen into his lap. I mean, he's earned every ounce. He's worked hard. He's had to excel and overachieve to get every ounce.
And so has everybody else we got up there on that screen, Kevin Van Dam included. Nothing has fallen in any of these guys' lap. They've earned every bit of it, because your competitors are going to make you earn every bit of it. But that's the way you earn their respect, and you can't help but respect Brent Ehlers.
Edwin Eavers perched up, must have one locked on, and that was the one thing we were saying about yesterday with the calm water. We had higher skies yesterday. We're kind of having that similar situation today. We said the first morning there was 2 X factors in this event, and this tournament is not done. There's a shad spawn in the morning, and the scary thing that can happen is one of these guys like Edwin or other guys in the top 10 that roll up on a pot of them locking on.
Well, the light's a little brighter than we thought it would be. The sky's a little higher than we thought it would be.
One thing worth noting, about 45 minutes ago, blogger on the water Pete Robbins said that Iaconelli showed back up in the area. I guess Iaconelli decided to ditch
He's gone
his D
north.
pattern, and he's
gone north
with his plan B that he spoke of yesterday. You know, how he caught his fish.
So basically the same thing he did same thing he did yesterday. The only difference is
he's got a 10-pounder in the live one.
10-pounder,
right? Yeah,
and only 2 fish in the live one.
Takes the edge off for the afternoon bite.
When he did that yesterday, he didn't have one, did he?
He had none.
It makes the ride a little easier. Have the 9. It's definitely 9+.
Something else interesting that just picking up off the blog and other social media networks is Jordan Lee caught 4 fish for 21 pounds yesterday. Went out, thought he could do it again. Had mechanical issues and couldn't make it to his first spot, and had to stop on a spot that he caught a fish or 2 on prior in the week. He has 4 fish for 19 pounds. He's kind of sitting idle. He can make it back to weigh-in, but he cannot get anywhere.
He cannot move around right now.
So he is just, it's one of those weird things. Maybe there's a reason he's supposed to stay there, and he's caught 4 for 19, and he's in the top 5. Little interesting. I think he's going to get going, though. I think people are notified enough that he'll be able to maybe get going again.
Come visit with Brett Myers at 12 p.m. today at the General Tire booth, 3035 Pilot Cafe. That's Brett Myers at booth 3035 35, General Tire.
One thing interesting about Brett Ayler, how he's fishing and what he's doing, he's fishing a depression. I totally believe it's a pond. He said he thinks it probably is. But you don't see him fishing it. He's out in the spar stuff now. When he gets inside that place where he has caught all of his fish, you can recognize the bushes look different and things look different.
More of a hard line deal.
But he told us the first day, I have to let these fish rest. They have to settle in. They have to get in position so I can make a good presentation, and that's when I can catch them. How hard is it? I've done it. But how hard is it during the Bassmaster Classic not to want to be where you think.
And never move.
Right.
Yeah.
And no, I need to be patient and just hope I get lucky and catch one out here and let that place rest. How long do you let it rest? When do you fish it the last time?
And not only that, one of the words that he kept saying is he needed it quiet. We talked about that a little bit yesterday, where he said he watched in that primary zone, which it's about probably a 20 to 30 yard stretch where he's caught the majority of those big ones, is he's watched other anglers go through there and then he'll let it sit longer. And he said, I just want it to be quiet for a little bit, and that's when I'll go in there to do most of my work. Well, we talked about it earlier, one of the dynamics in this tournament, and it's an amazing dynamic. While we were away, Iaconelli making that move from the dam area, the lower end of the lake, and he said, look, if I'm struggling, I'll absolutely head back up to Plan B. Plan B is what saved him yesterday. Came into this area, and this was about an hour ago. What you're looking at right there.
So he moved up about 11 o'clock. That's about the time he did it yesterday, wasn't it?
Boy, you think the wheels are turning right there.
Oh, they are. The interesting thing there again about it, rest.
Line up your thoughts for the rest of the day on your strategy here. I'm not going to change up. I'm just going to keep rotating through some areas. I've got one area I haven't hit for a day and a half that's sheltered by the wind. It's right around the corner. I want to go over there. I think I can catch a couple in there. Possibly come back in here. Got one spot on the way in I haven't hit yet in the tournament that could potentially be pretty good, but I don't want to run there just yet. I don't know how good it is. It'll take me about 10 minutes to get there. I'm almost thinking about just finishing my day here and running in just a hair early and going fishing over there. It's I'm not excited. I've got 11 pounds right now, and really, I need a couple big bites. I mean, it hasn't happened. The last 2 days, I had, a couple good bites by like 9:30 in the morning, and then didn't get a big bite the rest of the day. So right now, I'm really, I got to catch a couple big ones to have a chance at this. I'm in the hole right now. I left with a lead, and I'm in the hole right now. So I'm not out yet.
He said earlier 18 pounds was his magic number. He might settle for 16 at this point right here, and 16 might do it.
It might. We'll just have to see. It's been such a struggle today. There again, I thought they would catch him better today as a whole. Other than Iaconelli catching that really big fish, the biggest one ever caught on live, it's been a little tough.
But
Got about a 2 1/4 pound average bass in his live well right now. So definite upgrade possibility, but boy, you just got to start catching him. You want to move it on up to the region he's going to feel comfortable with.
You just never know if you're in the hole or not. He thinks he is.
Oh, you could
But
tell.
according to Bass, yep.
You could tell. He knows he's got a lot of work to do. But something that he said right there, granted, he's kind of still filtering through this primary region of the lake. He has one roll of a point down lake that has some isolated stumps on it. And he said, look, guys, I've kept it for the last day. It's a spot where I think I can get 1 or 2 big bites, and if needed, I'll use it. And he has not hit it through the tournament.
And when he said 1 or 2, he emphasized 1.
Exactly.
But that's probably all he'll need.
That's the thing about Conroe at 20,000 acres, only 20 miles long. You don't have to necessarily have to die in one place. You can get
And
anywhere on this lake.
Right there.
Yeah.
Look at that. And that is what he did not need.
I said this morning that it'd be real important that he had some calm water to fish early in the morning so he catch some. This is when it's been tough for him to get bites. That's why he said he had a place he hadn't fished for a day and a half. He's going to now.
Come on, I don't go where I'm
It's
going.
hard to go fast, but he's getting over there where the place.
Dang it. Man.
He's trying to get in there where it's protected from this wind.
Oh, gosh dang it. Gotta be freaking kidding me. Don't go there. Gosh dang it.
I can tell you exactly what's happening. Oh, well, what it looks like to me, Brent Ehlers was going the shortest route to get to his next spot, and he'd been idling for a while, headed that way.
I'm all the way across there. He
And
jumps
all
up
of-
on pad, now he beats me over there.
It looked like Iaconelli jumped up on pad and ran around in front of him. We'll see. Maybe it was somebody else.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. He was looking for the shortest route out of that pond and was idling. Iaconelli was on the outer hardline rim of that pocket right there. Gosh, we're having a little bit of trouble getting live with him, but you could tell that
He's got a different look on his face. I don't see another boat right here. I'm going to give you a little karma right here.
Yeah.
The final day when I won the Bassmaster Classic, the cameraman zoomed in on a wasp's nest.
Oh, come on
Were you
now.
just looking right there?
I was.
Go back and look at the footage.
Davey.
That's like the only 2 times I've ever seen it. Go back and look at the footage from 1999. My cameraman in the back of my boat zoomed in on and I'm thinking, you're enjoying this that much, huh? You're filming wasp.
I'll be dead honest with you, Davey. That would have been, we should have went CPECing with some trivia on that.
Absolutely.
Dick CPEC Tires trivia on
Kind
that
of
right
scary.
there. Exactly.
Kinda scary. I think this classic is haunted.
Every time I think I got a good idea, my rookiness comes out.
No, that's a
I know.
I was trying to
It's like a handful of candy. You just want
trying to
eat.
get attention out of the room.
Well, everything he went through to get here to this Geico Bassmaster Classic, all the anxiety, all the last-minute heroics it took to get Brent Ehlers into this classic as one of the last guys in. Well, it started to pay off on day number 1, early in the morning. 9 pounds and 12 ounces for that bass, which basically, he had about a 20% chance of landing, and it just happened to turn that way. Everything falling into place for this guy here. Everything looking toward that trophy right there. Is it fate? Is it going to happen for Brent Ehlert? We've got a lot more fishing to go and a lot of guys in pursuit.
Is that a
We'll be
wasp
right back.
nest on the side of that trophy?
The 2017 Geico Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is brought to you by Berkley, Hook, Humminbird, Mercury, Minn Kota, and by Nitro Boats.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
Eat, sleep, fish. A motto all Skeeter owners live by, with 16 consecutive NMMA CSI Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Our competition doesn't even come close. Right now, buy Save Fish with up to $1,500 in instant rebates through March 31st, including the newly redesigned limited edition FX series. Visit us for all the details at the Expo Center, booth 1225. Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
Now for your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year!
If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, we call it sea-pecking. In 1958, Dick Seepeck wrote the book. He was the creator of the original adventure tire. Dick Seepeck has a complete line of adventure tires and wheels. As the originator, Dick Seepeck knows what you need. Tires engineered for adventure, traction, reliability, and durability. If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, oh yeah, you're sea-pecking now. Dick Seepeck tires, proudly made in the good old USA.
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkley trilene, and that is a fact.
The 2017 Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is being brought to you live by Toyota.
Everything, that train rolling down the track, getting closer and closer to the time when we crown a world champion for 2017. That's a Master Control. There at Minute Maid Park, the baseball mecca. There's some images. James Overstreet got these back in the back of what's going on out here with Bobby Lane and Cliff Crochet. Guys deep in it, doing something different from everyone else. Everybody's doing something different from everyone else. Let's reset for you. The guys we're covering today, and boy, they have given us some stuff. Lots to chew on, that's for sure. A raffle of 5 live, including Bradley Roy. Bradley Roy fishing in his first Bassmaster Classic. The young man from Kentucky has been earning his living on the Bassmaster Elite Series, but boy, he's in a different sort of atmosphere right now. Running in fast company.
Exactly right, Tommy Sanders. A slow, steady tournament, though, for Oklahoma's James Elam. Had a slow day, actually, on day number 1, but that's been his biggest stringer of the tournament, 20 pounds, 1 ounce. Hey, here again, another angler with a lot of room to move.
And Edwin Eavers, a lot of folks' favorite to win here. He was the most confident on Wednesday, media day, and he was just as confident last night when we talked to him. Struggling today. Nobody would have thought this, including Edwin Eavers, I promise you.
Guaranteed. Only 1 fish in Evers live well from there. Pennsylvania's Dave Lefevre, another one. We looked at this yesterday coming into this final day. We thought it would be a showdown really between Pennsylvania and Oklahoma. Well, that has not been the case so far.
And Brent Ehrler, we saw his story, if you're just joining us, the incredible story of how nearly he did not make it into this Bassmaster Classic, had to do some true heroics at the last stop of the year, the Bassmaster Elite Series anglers, in order to make it into this Bassmaster Classic. And here he is, starting this day with the lead. As it stands right now, he is still in that lead. And they always say, beware of the last man into the field. Beware of that horse that drew in at the last minute. The guy who qualified on a Monday qualifier in a golf tournament. Those guys.
He did it exactly that way, Tommy. That's a great point. And he has been able to fight off some fierce anglers every day.
I'll tell you something right now with Ehrler, though, and I mean this sincerely. He has been a rock all tournament long, okay? This is the most important 3 to 4 hour stretch from here to the rest of the day in this dude's career.
A little less than 3 hours of fishing time, which is a lot of time. So, it's plenty of time. I did on Friday. I fished down here when the wind got up and had a bunch of bites. I caught one that I weighed in here, and then I got out of here. But I specifically didn't fish it yesterday because I knew the wind was going to blow out of the south a little bit today. I wanted to save it. I'm sure it's been fished, but everything else has too.
Anglers, Texas Parks and Wildlife is considering a regulation change for largemouth bass at Lake Conroe. If you fish Lake Conroe,
And what I'm saying about Ehrler right now, this is the most critical couple hour stretch of this guy's career.
Okay.
Move there.
And throughout this week, he has been able to put every other competitor in that area out of sight, out of mind. I'll come behind him, I'll catch him. I'll move in front of him, I'll catch him. And he does not need to worry about what boat, whose boat is in there right now. And you could tell his demeanor has changed.
For the first time this week, I've seen him look over his shoulder 3 times. I have no idea what he's looking at, but he has looked over his right shoulder a couple times here. Just glanced over that way again.
Edwin Eavers, once in a while you can see his face, and it's the portrait of a guy who is grinding, who the gears are turning inside there really hard.
And you could tell this morning he knew something was up after about 45 minutes.
It wasn't even that long.
You're right. There was a sense of urgency within 30 minutes this morning.
Yep. For 2017, featuring the Sea Monster 2.0 technology. While you're there, register to win a power pole anchor of your choice. Come by Power Pole booth now and register to win.
Well, that's what Brent Ehrler's looking at right there. One Mike Iaconelli. You're both in this area yesterday about this time.
Yep. Well, somewhere close.
Yep.
Right there.
You get that view coming in. Things are coming down to it. Your mood is definitely going to change no matter what happens. You're just going to get naturally more anxiety ridden. Seeing something like that, what does it do to you?
Well, the thing about our sport, with the growth, live coverage, everything, you have distractions.
Yeah.
We have more distractions than we've ever had. To fish at your best, you want less distractions. But good fishermen perform with distraction. That's one more distraction. It's definitely something that he's turned. Last year, Jason Christie tried to say, hearing that guy say Edwin's got 25 pounds didn't distract him.
Right.
All I can do is believe what he said. Right. It would have distracted me. This would distract me a little, but I think with years of experience, I would be able to overcome it. I think he will be able to.
Yeah.
But it's got to be distracting.
And another side of that is if you look at the timing of the first 2 days of competition, he catches an almost 12-pounder in the first 2 hours of the morning on day number 1. Yesterday, he puts 20 pounds in the boat. By 11 o'clock, today has just been different. It has not come easy this morning.
Yeah. And he's gone to a place he said he hadn't been in a day and a half, so you can tell he's struggling. The thing about, like I said, other people being around you, distracting you a little bit, but especially with Brett Ayler, he has told us every day, I need to let my that one depression, those two key little stretches, only 30 yards long, I need to let them rest. He's not there now.
That's right.
But on his mind, when I get ready to make my next move, is somebody going to be there? Or are they going to move that move before me? I got to keep my eye on him, so if he does head that way, I need to get there first kind of deal.
And he did say after the day 1 weigh-in, he knew the rest of the week was going to be a case of hopscotch up here.
That's, and that's part of the game. He said that too. It's the classic.
Yep.
This is the test.
Should have had a bite already.
Your attention, please.
I mean, I thought after getting that one, it should happen here pretty quick.
Will be in the Hummingbird Dakota booth 1833 at 12:30 today. He comes in booth 1833 at 12:30 today. Coming former Bassmaster Classic champions Casey Ashley and Randy Howell now signing autographs in the Triton Boats booth. Triton Boats booth 2701.
Boy, that should be a bite right there. Man. There's one. Oh man, that was my foot. Line jumped a foot in the air right there. One's on a bed, I think. I think that one's on the bed. He should bite. I'm gonna get this retied. I need to put a different hook on.
He put his talons down when he just missed that fish. He said two things. My line jumped a foot in the air. It's probably one on the bed because it was such a vicious, a hard strike. And when he set the hook, nothing was there. The fish probably, like I talked about George the bass in the aquarium, probably inhaled that bait because it just wanted to kill what was, intruding on its area there where it's spawning, and then blow it back out before he could set the hook. He immediately dropped his poles. He's going to make – it'd be interesting to watch how many times, if he doesn't get bit when he pitches back in there the very first cast, how many times he pitches that bait in there. He's totally expecting right now he's going to do everything just right because he expects to get a bite in his next pitch. Right now he's probably turning that unit on. I didn't see it go to map. I was going to say marking an exact waypoint if he doesn't get a bite to come right back there and make sure he can make that pitch again this afternoon. This is so cool. He might catch the fish that wins the Classic for him, and we're looking at the bush he's pitching in.
You can't say this enough. this is the most important stretch of this guy's career right now. And he's won major events.
Should have
major
hit in the
events.
very next cast.
Yeah. He said it should have bit the very next cast. Is that number 3, number 4, number 3? He'll make that same pitch, I'm guessing, at least 10 times if the fish doesn't bite before then.
Dang it, man. The way he bit it, he was acting like he was on the bed. Maybe not.
It's what you call blind sight fishing, isn't it, Tommy?
Blind sight fishing, one of the great word combos.
And I have nothing valid to what I'm going to say right now. But I just got a text from Brent.
Got him. The mail.
From 11 to 2:30 today. And entered in that 1 year,
What he did, and that was like the 8th or 9th pitch.
battery jump starts.
Probably the way he described the bite that he got, he was really intense because it was such a fierce strike, made his line jump a foot. He knew it was a bedding fish. It was probably the female. So when he set the hook there, he was expecting a big fish. The good news is now I would feel 99.9% sure that there is a female right there, because he was questioning after about the 5th or the 6th pitch, should have been one on the bed. I thought it was one on the bed. Now he knows it was one on the bed, and more than likely the fish that he needs is sitting right there.
Well, something else just happened here. I just got a text from Ayler's cameraman, and we're going to try to find out what happened just before that fish catch. Eric Kafka, Ayler's cameraman, said, "We just heard a big cheer around the corner from Mike's gallery." That's all I got. Hey, Ron, if we can find out what... Oh.
Did he just miss that fish?
Awesome.
We should. Hold on.
But I guess it could have. Got a constant or tie. The second I don't is when I'm gonna break.
It looks like Trey Reed
hand.
did go north with
Thick.
Ike and is still there watching him, so we should get blog updates about the next catch.
He really thinks there's a good fish there, and he knows.
Let him retie there. He's going to be meticulous about it. Time ticks away. That's got to be a hard thing to do, to sit there. But you got to do it. This is a little choppy, but James Elam.
Another angler with a lot of room to move. Rough service right here.
Only 3 fish, so he's everything he catches here goes right on the bottom line.
Wow.
And that's nice. Wow.
Even with choppy service, that's a good one.
Yeah. Good stuff there from James Elam. Getting more than his regular share of bites.
Hey, I'm going to tell you, that puts Elam right there.
Yes.
That's a guaranteed 5-pound fish. That's going to put Elam within 1 bite of it.
What I have learned this week, the best way to improve your catch from one day to the next, say, I don't have a clue. I don't know if I can get a bite. Every time someone has said that to us,
hey,
they do better the next day.
And I'll also say this. The one that Elam lost this morning, he's in the lead right now.
Oh, yeah.
He is in the lead in this tournament.
This is going to be so cool if he catches them.
That 5-pounder roughly will put him in the top 3.
Watch what he's doing here, because he's making one pitch and it's in a little open area where he caught the male. Watch his rod. That weightless D-shad settles down at an angle, about a 45-degree angle, quivering. And when it hits the bottom, he raises his rod quickly, but he doesn't really snap his rod to get that bait back up in the water column for it to go back down, and that's when he's been getting his strikes.
That's Timmy Horton at the General Tire booth, 3305 today at 12:30.
Right.
James Elam sitting with 4 fish, and we had very choppy service. He had just caught a big one, but this was earlier this morning, the first half hour of competition. This bass right here, James Elam from Oklahoma puts this in the boat. Right now, he would be our unofficial leader.
He only had 4 on day 1 in a 20-pound bag.
Oh, jeez.
16-incher.
The only guy in the top 7 to start this day that had not filled 2 limits. Steve Kennedy upgraded. He's got 20-12, and he's only 6 ounces behind Brent Ayler.
So that's too close to call.
Now, that could have been where the gallery came from, the cheer.
That could have
been the
the
cheer. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. We did just find out that Ike does still have 2 fish that must have been Kennedy's gallery. But here's the thing, it's bizarre. This reminds me of when Van Dam won in Beeswax Creek on Lay Lake, and Creek could hear those cheers.
Oh, my gosh.
Creek could hear it when Van Dam would hit.
Well, and that cheer was a 3-pound cull, and Steve Kennedy's up to 21 pounds within 6 ounces unofficially of the lead. So
he started 10 pounds, 2 ounces behind Brent.
Finished second in the Bassmaster Classic one time. I lost 1 fish, and I still can see that loss, see that fish swim away plain as day. I didn't hear the roar of the fish that beat me. That would be hard to forget if that was the fish.
But
it's too close to call,
biting,
but if that's the fish that somebody just took the lead from it.
And host of the Tim Horton Outdoors TV show right now in the Lewis booth. It's Tim Horton at Lewis booth, 1640.
I'm not fishing too fast. I mean, I'm fishing thorough. I'm fishing slow. It's not like I'm freaking out and running too fast. You know, they're just not really biting for me. Over that stick.
Davey, I'm going to throw it to you right now. Do you think Edwin Eavers has found one on a bed?
You think? What he's done every day, fish a shad spawn, then go sight fishing, and then late in the day, but I think he's just been keeping them honest, so to speak, fishing offshore. This is a way that I thought he was going to seal the deal today. Catches 15 pounds minimum shad spawn, and then come sight fishing. He hasn't done well doing either thing so far. But remember, Friday we said 1 o'clock for some reason. Guys were telling us 1 o'clock is the time when it seemed like those females moved up on those beds. It's still not even 1 o'clock. But one literally has him to his knees right now.
Taking a look at your unofficial leaderboard, bottom left-hand corner. A lot of anglers on there with some room to move. Iaconelli, Jordan Lee still has one fish to fill out his limit. And that was the dynamic coming into this tournament. This is that kind of lake where one bite the last few hours can do this right now.
You know, it's let's just wait a little while. It's just so much stuff going on right now.
You totally backed off the throttle.
There's so much going on right now.
Anybody's got 2 or 3 as a time bomb.
No doubt
out there, right?
Yeah.
Now.
All right, I'm gonna go there.
Do it.
And I don't care where he fishes, not one bit. I'm on the outside looking in, and things are spinning in my head. Iaconelli he had his plan when he walked into our nursery where we were interviewing guys yesterday, fishing down the lake. That's where I can win. That's what I'm going to do. I can't go up there and win.
That's what he said. You're right.
That was his plan, even though he had been up there. So this morning the plan couldn't go any better. He catches a 9+, the size that he said I've got to have and I can catch down south. But by 11 o'clock, he's up there where he said I can't win. Yeah.
Look, I'm going to put it this way. I think he thinks in his head, I have my bowling ball in the live well, man.
Yeah.
All I need to do right now is go up there and do what I did yesterday. I need 3 bites up there, which I hate to say it, with the time that he allotted himself yesterday, he did that pretty quick.
He did a good job of it, absolutely.
You have to think in your head, I got a 10 and a 3. All I got to go do is catch 3 threes.
You're exactly right.
And I win.
But all he has to do is Ayler. Wow, that's definitely will help.
I don't know if it will.
My God.
What he did right there is he turned his microphone off so he does not get any feedback when he's weighing these fish. Watching Edwin Eavers right now. He's got one locked on a bed that he's been sitting on actually for quite a while now.
So this fish is helping him, right?
Gonna get a little bit.
It'll be a close.
Not a ton.
He put a tag.
But here's the other side. He did have a line burner this morning. Remember that?
Yeah.
Second fish
That's
was
the one he wants to get out. That's a good point. That's a good point.
We all get excited about the 10-pounders for good reason, but like Ronnie mentioned, sometimes a 16-incher is the only one that you need to win a Bassmaster Classic. He had a line burner. You're exactly right. I mean, it was barely a line burner. That could have helped him 3 or 4 ounces. It certainly is close enough that could mean winning or losing.
Even more so that he doesn't have to possibly throw back that fish if it shrinks up.
Right.
Yeah, it could have technically been a 2-pound call.
Yeah.
That fish was so close. So let's finish that thought. Hopefully one of them will interrupt us and catch one, and I'll certainly watch. You made a good point. If all he's got to do is run up there and catch 3.
Everyone has seen the outrageous
But I've been guilty of it. Just because you run somewhere doesn't mean 3 is going to jump in your boat.
No, and I agree with that yesterday. But if you looked at the time in which he did that yesterday, but he went up there and in 2 hours he did work. When he made a comment, well, at least I caught one to maybe get into so I can fish tomorrow. Heck, 30 minutes later he was at 5.
Caught that first one, laid out exactly how he caught it, and did the same thing 2 more times.
The only day he stayed down the lake, he caught his heaviest stringer.
It's a good point.
It certainly wasn't easy, but he was this far from doing it on Friday 2 different times.
I'll bet you he doesn't get bit in the next hour. He's gone.
I agree.
Pro angler and hometown guy Keith Combs is in the Hummingbird Pittsburgh booth 1833 at 12:30. Keith Combs in booth 1833 for the next 30 minutes. Meet Bassmaster Elite Angler and host of the Tim Horton Outdoors TV show. Right now in the Lewis booth is Tim Horton at Lewis, booth 1645, located in the middle of the expo floor.
Oh, there's good look flipped right there.
Ladies and gentlemen, make your way to the Performance Line spooling booth at booth 2019, where you can have up to 3 reels spooled with the premium performance fishing line of your choice from Berkeley, Spiderwire, and String.
That should be
It's
right.
100% free. This is up to a $60 value, so don't miss out. Choices of monofilament, fluorocarbon, or braid, and up to 1,000 yards total. There is something for every angler. Experience the performance difference with products from these amazing brands.
Tommy, we've covered a couple critical last few hours of tournaments together. Davey Height, welcome to what I'm going to say is one of the most intense last few hours we will have covered on Bassmaster Live.
Just about as tight as it can possibly be. Probably going to get tighter before anything breaks loose. Hey, when we come back, it's a very special guest, the 2016 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year. It was his second such title. He's one of the great ones. Gerald Swindle, what a speech he gave at the Night of Champions the other night. Maybe getting to reprise a little bit of that for us. Tell us how you play small ball and win. We'll be right back.
Yamaha VMAX SHO, the game changer. The pros knew right out of the first hole shot that the VMAX SHO was the real deal. VMAX SHO exceeds two-stroke performance, delivers four-stroke efficiency, and is packed with legendary Yamaha reliability. It's the faster, stronger, smarter, lighter family of VMAX SHO outboards from Yamaha.
This Tundra for me is more than just a vehicle. The way that we travel in professional bass fishing, it's our home. As a competitor, man, I want to win. That desire to win, to be the best, that's never weakened. It's been the same from when I was 13, 14 years old to now. It hasn't gone away.
Toyota, let's go places.
Let us make this absolutely clear. The days of wasted casts and missed opportunities are over. New Mega Imaging takes fishing into the megahertz range for the first time, because higher frequency sonar means higher frequency of this. Without a doubt, it's the most detailed picture of the world below ever. And it's only from Humminbird.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's a game changer.
This thing steers just as easy in the thick stuff as it does out there in the open water.
It's much quieter, it's more responsive.
Hit one button, you're locked down.
It's holding us right in place. It's anchoring us right here.
That new spot lock is dead on.
You know, the only fighting you have to worry about is fighting the fish now.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
The 2017 Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is being brought to you live by Toyota.
Final day, most important day of the Bassmaster Classic. We got an important guy coming on the set right now. Anytime you say two-time Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, you're talking about one of the real important guys, one of the legends of fishing. There he is right there. Gerald Swindle, the G-Man, getting it done, small balling it, doing what it takes to win that title for a second time in 2016.
Yes, look at that sexy bass catching them small.
I'm going to throw it to you, friend, real quick as we're going to dive back into the Classic here, but kind of bring the folks that are hanging here in the expo, everybody that's watching on Bassmaster Live. What Tommy Sanders just said, your speech that you gave at Night of the Champions, man, that was one of the most incredible speeches in a condensed form. Talk about last season.
You know, that was one of the things I thought about all winter. I thought, what was the difference in 2016 and some of the other seasons and the first year that I won Angler of the Year? And I just kept coming back to the fact that I played small ball. I didn't go out last year. You know, I didn't win any tournaments, didn't hit any home runs, never led it on day one, never led it on day two. But I just simply controlled the things. I worked on the things that I controlled. I did the small ball things. I retied. I fished a little cleaner. You only do the little things right long enough, big things happen, and that's what 2016 come down to. You know, just small decisions, small adjustments, and they ended up being a monumental a year for me.
You went back to things that have happened to you since you were a little boy to gain that perspective, to get that idea of how to get it done. That was the interesting thing about the speech to me.
I did. I sit back and I sit in a deer stand in Illinois, and I thought about that. What would I say when I take the stage? Because you're standing in front of some of the best fishermen in the world, no, the best fishermen in the world, hands down. And how do you address your peers on last year and what happened? And I just started thinking back of when I played ball, you know, and how a couple of coaches influenced me and how we played in the state playoffs in baseball, and we were outsized, outclassed, understaffed, and we got down 7-0 in the first inning, and the coach told us, he said, we're going to play small ball till somebody makes a mistake. They ended up beating us 7-6 in the ninth inning by one run, you know, and we had the bases loaded. So I learned real quick, like, if you just stay confident and play small ball, if you can't win, you play good enough to make somebody else lose. You just make them make a mistake, and that's what I did last year. And then, unfortunately, I come to this event, and I try to fish a little too aggressive. I try to go for the win, fish only the big things, and you see where it gets you. It gets you hanging out with you two guys.
And I appreciate that. Davy's decided to do it for the rest of his life. I mean,
Davy's
exactly
good at it, and he looks good doing it.
Hey, this tournament, we've called it one of the most confusing tournaments that we have ever covered in the entire Elite Series, not just a Classic. Why was this lake such a challenge?
I told Leanne last night driving back home, I said, as disgusted as I am and as bad as this event's been, I said, honey, I still don't have a clue. You know, I fished my guts out in practice, and everything I thought should work didn't work. Keith Combs made a statement to me that I made to Leanne before I spoke to him yesterday. I said, I did a lot of brilliant things the last 2 days, and none of them worked. None of them. And I spoke to Keith, he said, man, I did a lot of really smart things, and none of them worked. When you can't get bites, you can't build confidence. Without confidence, you can't move around. And that's where I found myself really struggling. And yesterday was the first time that I just said, hey, I'm going to go 2 foot or less, and I'm going to fish that way all day. And I caught 20 or 22 fish yesterday, just never caught a keeper, but still not understanding exactly what the fish are doing. I'm so impressed that these guys have been able to be consistent. I mean, hats off. I mean, they are bringing it, because that lake, as I call it, Lake Conroe, proved to be the toughest lake I've ever fished.
Well, I'm going to tell you something. You're in pretty good company, because we've seen, with the exception of one guy, Brent Ayler, everybody we've looked at has stood there at one point and said, I don't have a clue. I do not know what is happening here.
And I think that's exactly what it is. And I just spoke to Davey before walking up here, and I said, I fished through the area where Ayler's catching them at and thought it wasn't no way to win. When I fished through there in practice, there was 30 or 40 locals. There's 15 or 20 of our guys just beating and banging, and I thought there's no way in the world you can win the tournament in here. Even though you got bites, don't come back in here. I watched Ayler go in there, and what did he do? He played small ball. He went in there and just started fishing and waited for something to happen, and look where he's at. He outlasted, and he fished an area with confidence, and that's what it takes. He did not let the crowd, the locals, anything else rattle him. He just stayed in there and played small ball, and something bit.
Some of the best dock fishermen in this tournament, Andy Montgomery, you look at a Matt Herron yourself. I mean,
Wesley Strader, throw him in there.
Strader, absolutely, literally the best dock fisherman on the planet on a lake in Texas in the month of March. All I need is give me something of why that couldn't happen.
The only thing I've been able to make heads or tails of on Lake Conroe is most of the bulkheads and most of the docks at the very back of the dock against the catwalk, all the bulkheads are dug out. So most of them are 2 to 5 foot deep. The water is relatively colored. There's not a lot of sunlight penetration. The only thing I've made sense of it is the walls are too deep, the docks are too deep for the fish to spawn on because they can't get any sunlight. And if you'll notice, almost everywhere you're watching guys fish shallow, there's a natural shoreline behind them. It's not anything that's bulkhead, it's man-made. I think the majority of this fish in this lake have to spawn in 2 foot or less, and you can't hardly find a dock here that's that shallow.
One thing we haven't heard anybody say all week, Gerald, is my fish have left. The fish are gone from here. Everyone indicates that within their vision, there are 30-pound bags everywhere, and they're just catching them is what's
Absolutely.
hard, right?
I fished day one. I started this tournament out on 2 little isolated rock piles where I had 3 or 4 bites out in practice on a jig, and 2 of them were giants, and I thought my best chance to win the Bassmasters Classic is right here. And I can actually say when I got there on day one, I can't mark a fish. I can't see them. They're honestly gone. I knew right then that them big females had went somewhere to the bank, and I just couldn't find them.
Other side of it is looking at where Brent Ayler is right now. Granted, we've only seen a couple anglers, whether it's Steve Kennedy or Iaconelli in that area. That area has gotten thrashed through this tournament.
Thrashed. You should have seen how many people were in that area this past weekend on the spring break fishing. It looked like a zoo. You were touching boats trying to get in and out of there, and I thought there is no way. But what happened is that cold front during the spring break, I think, held them fish off from biting. So I think as the thing stabilized, that area started coming back alive, and had nobody kind of been in there, it kind of slacked off for 3 or 4 days. And you can just watch them, and they just keep replenishing them. And what a dummy I am. I never went back because I'm a rocket science.
Now tell us what we're doing today. Is there something going on with you and Mercer? What's happening?
I tell you, man, at 1 o'clock, I'm going to let Dave Mercer shave my beard. He's agreed to throw in $2,000 extra. It's all for breast cancer awareness.
Wait, how much? Say it again.
He throwed in an extra $2,000. Huh? What you got?
Whoa. Tell us what it's for. What's the money for?
We're raising money for breast cancer awareness. We're actually going to donate all the money to a foundation right there inside of Alabama. It's actually in Birmingham, Alabama. And what it's all about is Luke Duncan's mother was diagnosed with cancer back in the winter. Him and I were growing a beard. We were making jokes to each other. He just said, hey, dude, he said, let's make a bet. He said, the first one to shave, the first one to break down and shave has to give the other guy $2,017. I said, okay. He said, but better than that, he said, I'd like to make it to breast cancer awareness. He said, Ben's my mom's battling this. He said, it'll be our way as a family to kind of have some laughs with it and watch it as it grows. And it just kind of took off, Z. It really kind of took off, and then the beard war started, and people started getting in, and then Wired the Fish stepped up, set up the GoFundMe account, said, we'll give $2,000. Quantum stepped up at the Classic, said, we'll give $2,000. And I've been told today that Toyota, which the fine folks at Toyota have agreed to give $2,500. Bassmasters is going to give $2,000. So with all this said, we're looking at the $11,000 or $12,000 mark right now. So as Luke texted me this morning, he said, not bad for two old rednecks with a beard to raise that kind of money for a great cause.
I want to talk to you. You said that the beard has taken a life of its own.
Oh, it has.
Now, I've known you for several years, Gerald, and what's interesting is your top end has got a little gray, but it's like the bottom end is getting darker by the day.
It's called Just for Men, color number 30, light brown. Just brush it in and wash it out. If I didn't, I'd look like a big gray squirrel laying on a limb up in a pine tree.
That's the Brian Wilson effect.
Yeah,
right
I mean,
there,
you got to color it out a little bit. That looked like a snowball.
You want me to call Mike McInnes do you want me to call him out for $1,000 right now?
I mean, I hear Mike in my ear, and he thinks we can. Oh, did you just say that JM Associates is in for $1,000?
I think so.
The live team is in for $1,000. Y'all give it up, folks. They've just agreed for another $1,000.
Absolutely.
Woo! Yes.
Yeah, all right.
It is a beautiful thing, and this is a beaver pelt. I mean, I thought about selling it at a fur shop.
Tommy,
or something.
touch it.
I touch it.
Hey, I did.
I want to already have. I mean,
Dave
it looks like I think somebody from the Old Testament has come to life and is chasing me every time I see him.
I'll be honest with you. I was going to let my hair grow out all the time, let my beard grow out, thought it'd be all sexy. Woke up one morning eating Captain Crunch, decided I looked like a Unabomber, so I cut my hair.
Now, what's going to happen with this beard?
In about 15 minutes, we're going to go right over here to the Toyota booth. And at 1 o'clock, I think we're going to do it on live again, something Bassmaster Live, something Mercer Live, I don't know.
Straight razor, dog trimmer?
No,
we're
going to go with some electric trimmers, and we fix to cut this thing off. Mercer says he's going to mount it like a turkey beard. I don't know. But
I don't know what that
means. At 1
means.
o'clock, just right across the aisle, Toyota, we're going to shave the beard off, and we're going to make all the donations. And I'll tell you what, people of bass fishing stick together. You can tell that what a community these people are when you see something like this start growing. I really appreciate the fans and how the unity of bass fishing works and how they get behind something and support it.
Would you consider Mercer shave? I'd love to see you go Harley Davidson handlebar mustache.
Let me ask.
Just have different stages.
Let me ask your wife sitting over there, because she was giving me the wink eye when I come in. What's up, Karen? You like that beaver, don't you? That big pelt. Look like a big deer, don't I? She said it looked lumber sexual.
When I grow one, I look like Teen Wolf if I grow a beard. I can't. Mine doesn't look. Yours is.
But you got pretty hair.
I appreciate it. Again, just for men.
Now, anybody standing around, I mean, the pot keeps getting sweeter by the minute. Anybody standing around wants to show up and kick in a little bit,
you can go to Wired to Fish, look at the Beard War, the GoFundMe account, make a contribution. It's all for a great cause. 100% of the money is going straight to the foundation. Nothing held back.
Name the GoFundMe account one more time.
It is the GoFundMe account is the Beard War on Wired to Fish.
Now, I'm talking about a coffee can next to where the beard cutting goes on. If you
we
want to
can't
drop
do
into
that, you know how Mercer
that?
is. Mercer's from Canada. He'll dip down in that coffee jug and get a couple of nickels, rub them together.
Real quick, looking at what you're seeing on the unofficial leaderboard so far in this tournament, you got Brent Ehlers hanging on right now. I mean, by a string, Gerald. He's had a tougher day. Jordan Lee up to 24 pounds right now unofficially for 5. Filled out his limit in the last half hour. What is going through Ehlers' head?
What I need to know right now is what Ehlers, does he have 5?
He's got 5.
What is the weight?
11.8.
He's got a lot of room to grow. Joe Lee, with a magical day, could jump 2 or 3 more pounds, but 25 pounds is pretty magical. What does Edwin have?
In between Joe Lee and Brent Ehlers, Steve Kennedy, 5 for 20 pounds and 12 ounces. Right there.
One fish, 4.5 pounds, Edwin Eavers. So I'm going to tell you, man, I'm still going to go with
Iaconelli has 2.
How far back is Ike from Ehlers?
Sitting in 5th place right now.
6 pounds
6
back.
pounds with only, and he's still
2.
Oh,
he's the time bomb, isn't he?
Oh, that could be a sneaky right there. He's had a rally every day late in the day, every day. So if Ike goes on an Ike rage late in the day, he has a lot of room for improvement. Edwin's still got miles of the ceiling above him to gain him, and that guy right there you're looking at can flat bring the noise. If they bite, he's going to catch them. And apparently he's sitting on a giant, and he knows it's a game changer.
Been there for over 45 minutes as it is.
How
right
big
now.
do you think it is? 8, 10, 11?
If he's going to sit on one with one in his live well, he's not going to sit on a 3-pounder right now.
No. I'm going to tell you, man, I'm going to still say that Ehlers has the upper hand. He seems to be fishing well, fishing strong and confident.
Talk about Brent. I made the comment, outside of the Bassmaster Elite Series, this guy has won everything.
Everything. I mean, he's won the FLW championships. He's won the TTBC. He's sitting right here with a chance to win the Classic. He's won an Elite Series. This guy can do it all. And he is very calm. His demeanor's very calm. And I'm watching him fish on the show a minute ago. He looks to be settled in. I'm going to say that Ehrler's going to be the guy to beat. And without a shadow of a doubt, he's going to have a flurry between now and quitting time.
Let's take a look at this. KVD, a little sign on the bank there. I think we're supposed to look for it right here.
Van Dam Bass
Let's take a look
Pro
at that sign real quick. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Actually, that is the exact sign that Van Dam was painting for himself on the practice.
Did he do that?
That's nice work. There's a lot of love in it, I can tell you that. It must be Van Dam.
With the Geico. And I did not know how Kevin was fishing, but to watch it now, I see that he's jerking some deeper seawalls and stuff, and he's fishing aggressive. What does he have?
Van Dam has had a rough day.
Very
one
rough
fish,
day,
2.5 pounds. And really yesterday he said, man, I caught 15 to 20 keepers today. Do you remember in all the tournaments you have fished on the Bassmaster Elite Series, a tournament that has not had any dominant pattern?
I can't. And I did predict that going into this Bassmasters Classic, it could be one of the few tournaments ever won with somebody not weighing in 15 fish. Now think about that. That's how tough the fishing's been, but that's how big they are when you get a bite. And it's weird, man. You can go out and catch 15 or 20 fish and not have a keeper, or you can go out and get 6 bites and have 25 pounds. That's hard to pattern that.
We're seeing that right now with Steve Kennedy and James Elam. Both failed to get limits on previous days, and they're in the top 5.
There you go.
Lefevre made a comment after the weigh-in yesterday, Swindle, and we said, what adjustments have you made in this tournament? He looked at us, he said, how do you make an adjustment when you're getting 5 bites? He said, you catch a couple on a jig, sounds like something you better lock in your hand.
Yes, and I think that's what you're watching Ehrler and those guys do. They picked 1 or 2 baits and they went with it. Fatal mistake for me is I bounced between 4 or 5 baits and never rode it out. You're only going to get so many bites, and those guys know it. They pick up the medicine and they go with it all day.
A few of the anglers said this would be potentially the biggest junk fishing tournament on planet Earth. First thing I said was Randy Howell, Gerald Swindle.
Junk fishermen got to get bit. That's the key to junk fishermen. I mean, people laugh about that. Junk fishermen have to get bit because that's where they get the adrenaline and that's where they start figuring it out. There is a 0 pattern. Now, you can go throw at those sticks if you call that a pattern, but throwing at 48 million sticks and getting 3 bites, I call that random. That's not a pattern. Not. And it just wasn't junk fishing.
Something we didn't cover in this. Ehrler, just like you told me on Wednesday, you said, not on him. Horrible.
Horrible.
Looked, and even made the comment, not going to see a lot on camera. Ehrler said the exact same thing. I think one of the benefits that Ehrler had is he had nothing else to go to.
His exact comment I made this morning, I said I think Ehrler was brilliant in a way that's what he had. I seen Brent the second day of practice. He asked me to borrow some small little creature baits to flip around. And I said, dude, have you looked deep? And he said, I'm not going to look deep. I said, why? He said, I haven't caught him deep every time I've ever been here. When they caught him deep, I'm committed to stay shallow, and I seen him idling out of exactly where he's fishing. And he says, so regardless of the outcome, this is the way I'm fishing, and this is what's going to happen. And hey, it worked right out.
Talk about that dude as a fisherman.
He's incredible. Brent Ehrler is one of the toughest fishermen I've ever been around. He can do it all. Drop shot, sight fish, deep crank, electronics. He can read his hummingbird as good as anything. He's very calm. He's very poised. And when he sits in the boat, you watch his demeanor. He's in control of everything going on around him. Stout.
Will you miss the beard? Or is it time? Is it mentally?
It's time. It's time that the beard goes. I'm telling you, I really feel like my dog is tired of sniffing in it, and it's done got hot, and it's for a great cause. And when I zeroed yesterday, I would have cut it with scissors right then, idling in. I was just hunting something to do for frustration, and you wasn't here to punch.
It's kind of like a sofa. I mean, you got to check and get all the change out of it and everything else. You might have a nice ballpoint pen in there somewhere.
Treble hooks or something. And I keep a couple of worms, trick worms in there just in case.
Run through it one more time before you get it all cut off right there.
I mean, it's the toughest classic ever that I've ever fished right here.
And Van Dam made the same comment to Davey. He said this tournament will be tougher than Pittsburgh.
Absolutely, and
not from a quality standpoint, obviously.
You know what's funny? I seen Davey Hyde at the Angler of the Year banquet that night, and he said, "Are the docks on?" And I said, "Dude, they're absolutely horrible." I said, "I can't get a bite." And he gave me this look like, "It's Texas in March. What's the deal?" I said, "I don't have a clue." And he said, "Is it that bad?" I said, "It's as bad as I've ever seen it." I've cleaned cobwebs. I can promise you, they don't have to sweep under these docks for the next 5 years. There ain't a cobweb, a spider web, a piece of fishing line. I've combed them all. They ain't under there, son. Leave.
Again, Edwin Eavers, power poles down. He's been on a spawner for starting to approach about an hour
getting close
now.
to an hour, yeah.
Oh.
Hey, bud, I got to tell you something. Rough Classic, have to tell you, friend, that was a heck of a year to cover last year.
I appreciate it, guys. Truly blessed. And the people at Bassmasters, man, I can't thank you guys enough for following it and showing the appreciation you guys did. And I look forward to trying to repeat it. And you know, my season's already started. I've already done my tackle. I'm headed to Sam Rayburn in the morning, and I'll be getting ready for Toledo Bend.
Do me a favor, pick that grand up from Mike McInnes.
Get that while he's still here. 5:30 p.m. today, the Classic weigh-in, and this is the big one. This is all the lights, all the balloons, everything happens today at Minute Maid Park, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Get there if you're here in Houston. See it on Bassmaster.com. We'll be right back.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
The competition is fierce and the prizes are huge. The only thing missing is you. Fantasy Fishing presented by Toyota. Sign up for free and face fans from across the nation. Grand prize winner receives a Triton Yamaha package including a Triton 189 TRX. MSRP of $37,293. The Classic and each individual Elite Event winner will receive $2,500 Bass Pro Shops gift cards, with the runner-up receiving a GoPro Hero 4 Black camera. Sign up and pick your team today at BassmasterFantasy.com.
Eat, sleep, fish. A motto all Skeeter owners live by, with 16 consecutive NMMA CSI Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Our competition doesn't even come close. Right now, buy Save Fish with up to $1,500 in instant rebates through March 31st, including the newly redesigned limited edition FX series. Visit us for all the details at the Expo Center, booth 1225.
If you love bass fishing, then show your support by joining B.A.S.S today. Since 1968, B.A.S.S has been serving bass fishing enthusiasts with information and tournament coverage that make you a better angler. When you sign up today, you'll join over 500,000 outdoorsmen who love bass fishing. With your membership, you'll receive every issue of Bassmaster magazine, plus $50 in free gear, including a membership tackle bag, BASS cap, plus more. Log on to Bassmaster.com to join Bass today.
Are you ready for this? Your 2016 Geico Bassmaster Classic champion, Edwin Eavers! Grove, Oklahoma, I need you to get loud when I call these anglers out. These are the 55 best bass anglers in the universe. Oh, yes, nice. Ooh.
Tennessee, how's everybody doing today? We are excited to get this season kicked off. It all starts here.
Barely work, dude. Barely work. Ooh, yes! Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Stay down, stay down. Stay down, open your mouth, open your mouth. Yes! Thank you. Yeah! That's a big one. That's for you, Mama! How about that right there now? Woo! Ooh, yes! Yes! Yes!
Bassmaster Elite Series champion, Jacob Wheeler.
Bassmaster Elite second event for 2017 at legendary Lake Okeechobee. So much tradition here and so many amazing eye-popping results.
Yeah, buddy's right. Yes! Yes! Give me some high five on that. Yes. Take a closer look at that one. I never flipped a fish that big before, I don't think. Woo! Stay hooked.
Champions aren't born, they're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
Now for your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year.
Think you could win valuable prizes from Bassmaster? You can't know unless you enter, and entering is easy. Go to Bassmaster.com. Enter now for a chance to win a fishing trip with 2016 Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year Gerald Swindle. Trip includes airfare, rental car, hotel, and $500 cash, plus a Triton 17 TX bass boat, Mercury engine, and Gerald's gear from Humminbird, Minn Kota, GoPro, and more. You, the winner of a valuable prize? Could be. All you have to do to get your shot is go to Bassmaster.com and enter today and every day. Hey, it could be you.
If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, we call it sea-pecking. In 1958, Dick Seepeck wrote the book. He was the creator of the original adventure tire. Dick Seepeck has a complete line of adventure tires and wheels. As the originator, Dick Seepeck knows what you need. Tires engineered for adventure, traction, reliability, and durability. If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, oh yeah, you're sea-pecking now. Dick Seepeck tires, proudly made in the good old USA.
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkley trilene, and that is a fact.
The 2017 Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is being brought to you live by Toyota.
The World Championship moment is getting closer and closer. 2.5 hours thereabouts left of fishing out on Lake Conroe as we take a look at our unofficial leaderboard from Bass Track right there. Ounces separating Brent Ehrlich, Steve Kennedy. Jordan Lee moving up, his trajectory going up all day. Steve Kennedy, his trajectory going up all day. Brent Ehrlich, sort of flat right now, probably in his mind, because he's got an 18-pound figure in his mind to put away the Classic. 16 might do it, no telling what might do it at this point. Just short of 2.5 hours actually efficient time, but that's plenty of time for a lot of crazy stuff to happen.
There's no doubt about it. We said earlier in the broadcast, something crazy is going to happen before the end of the day. There's a lot of room to move for two anglers in that top 5, being James Elam. Mike Iaconelli still sitting with 2 fish. Brent Ehrlich, it's the first time in this tournament his lead is very, very fragile. And you see a lot more moving around now.
You do. These guys know it's the last day. They're trying to do anything and everything they can to catch that one fish that might make a big, big difference. Edwin Eavers, on the other hand, has been locked in on a fish on the bed off the corner of this wall. It must be a really big one. He's been on that one fish for
over an hour.
Yep. I thought he was about to catch it before we went to break, because normally when you start pitching in there quick like that, you know that fish is about to bite, making those quick pitches instead of just sitting waiting. So it tells me that the fish is right there, but he hasn't been able to get it to bite. He really needs it.
As you say, we got another hour and a half of our live coverage coming up here, and we got a Dave Mercer sighting in the house. I believe we do.
What?
He's on the Triton on the Line feature that we have for you, one of our favorite features. And Dave, is he somewhere here in the? Yes, we know where he's supposed to be. Over near the Toyota booth. Dave, is that where we find you now, or are you still sort of making your way there?
Let's hear it for the live around the world.
We got Dave live.
All right, so here's the deal. We were just explaining to everybody how this is all going to work. You guys started this charity, obviously, this initiative. Explain for all our viewers how that happened.
Well, Luke come up with the idea. He said, hey, man, he said, just for my way of dealing with this, he said, let's make a bet. Whoever shaves first has to pay the other guy $2,017 because it's 2017. And he said, you got to make your check out to breast cancer awareness. I said, absolutely. He said, that way, you know, I think everybody, I've said this before, has their way of coping. And, you know, it's touching him and his family right now, and it's been a battle. And I think this is Luke's way. As he fishes and works, he keeps his mind off of it. It gives his mom something to watch. And then it just kind of took on a face of its own, and the beard jokes got stronger, and we started having a lot of fun with it. And then we started seeing people get involved, like Wired to Fish give $2,000, Quantum give $2,000. I got word this morning that Bassmaster is going to give $2,000. Toyota's offered to give $2,500. My boy Foose back here has just walked up and said, I'll give you $2,000. The JM crew over there just said they'll give $1,000. So TH Marine just offered $2,000. The GoFundMe accounts went through the roof. We set a goal for $10,000, and it very well looks like we may hit $20,000. So a big hats off to everybody for getting involved. The foundation we'll be writing the check to will be inside of Birmingham. It's a small foundation. All the money will go right to breast cancer awareness and try to help find a cure. And you know, it's a big disease, and you can't beat it single-handedly, but I think it says a lot about the people of bass fishing and how two rednecks growing a beard can simply start raising money. And it's been overwhelming. You see me wearing a pink bracelet right here. A lady come up and hugged me, said I'm a 5-year survivor. Thanks for what you guys do. To me, the sport offers so much, and to be able to do this just by two rednecks growing beards, I'm all in. But it's time. I'll give Luke Duncan the win.
Luke Duncan, you might have won the beard war, but this war it's not a war. It's all about raising money and supporting a family member of yours. How much does this mean to her?
Man, I tell you, this guy right here has been like my brother for a really, really long time. And for all this, look at this. For my mom, for me, to do this, it's just words can't describe it. And the bass fishing community, holy cow, you guys are awesome.
Truly awesome, so much so that the goal yesterday on stage was $10,000, and of course I agreed to my commitment for my $2,000. But the bass fishing community showed just how strong they are, because I'm walking through the expo and this dude just gives me $5. Oh. You know, whether Rod Blank, I mean, that's literally his name.
I had a gentleman knock on my camper door this morning, walk up. I've never seen this guy before in my life. He opens his billfold out, it's camo, it's wore out. He pulls a $100 bill out, lays it in my hand. He said, my sister died of breast cancer. I just want to help. Walks off. I mean, it's about become overwhelming. It really has, because people relate struggles and they deal with it. They find a common bond. They start to form toughness around it. And to see people find that in me or find that in this guy, pretty strong.
Very, very strong indeed. Let's hear it for two true champions right here. Now, we're about to do the shaving here, but before we do that, as you said, the fishing community is very, very strong.
Y'all both can shave.
I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine.
It's not a turkey beard. You can't mount this.
All right, so first of all, we have from Jim Sexton, personally from Bassmaster.com, $500 to add to it. You've seen the Celebrity Apprentice. You know how this works. Is Bob Seeley here? Bob Seeley, come on up here. Bob Seeley, $1,000 from him.
That's unbelievable. I mean, it just keeps showing up. Bob's been a great friend. It's great to have you aboard this. And he's got plenty of money. I'll take it.
We're going to try to get more from Bob.
We got money coming from the crowd. We need people to collect this money from the crowd. Money is falling all over the place. It's making it rain. Okay, we have more donations, but we are live right now. So let's do the first cutting for Bassmaster Live, and then they can have a look at you after. Where are the scissors? What are we using? Clippers or scissors? I'm using scissors. Anyone got a knife? Or you put that thing in a ponytail. I want to mount it like a turkey beard.
No, it won't go in a ponytail, but you cut my chin, I'm going to slap you. I say go Clippers. All right,
I got this.
Clippers. Go slow. God, he twirled them. Here we go. Go easy.
That thing is a lot thicker than
it smells too. It smells.
It does not. I just washed it. Beard game's
That's
strong,
right.
baby.
That's right.
Beard game gone.
Hey, easy. Easy there. Oh, wow. You surely ain't never going to go to work at the mailroom. I can tell you that.
No.
Your breath smells like diesel.
That's the underlayer of this tarp you've got on your face.
Oh, don't get a sunburn. Oh, Leanne Swindle says no, gotta leave the sunburn.
You didn't go to a salon. I don't know if you realize this. Luke, you can finish it. You can get your clump.
Oh my God, this is horrible.
All right, the beard cutting is in progress right now. We got a good idea how this is going to turn out. Big pile of hair on the floor. Very, very good stuff from Gerald Swindle. Raising money for cancer awareness. Very important work. You know, everybody making it. The more people know what to do, how to get tested, how to test themselves, people suffer needlessly every year. Doesn't have to happen. That money's going to a good cause.
Yeah, for a great cause. I think they should leave him just like that until they raise another $5 or $10,000.
Set him out on the street out there, wander up and down, and see what happens there. Still, time passes. Edwin Eavers stays steady here. He is on something. He's got to be on something special.
He absolutely has to be on a big one. To have no more than he's got and be fishing for that fish as long as he is it's a big, big fish, and I certainly want to see him hook up on it. I can't believe.
Do we know how big it is?
We don't, but this happens so often in a tournament. Hopefully it's with a big fish, so your patience pays off. But a fish will get where you think it's going to bite, and man, you're like, I just got to stay 2 more minutes. And the next thing you know, you've been there an hour and you've wasted a good part of your day.
Edwin Eavers, for just joining us both days of this tournament. He has pretty much set it on fire. Be the first guy out of the gate to get a lead, and been run down both days by Brent Ehlert, but still today was nothing like that. He did not get there. Guys still in the hunt. Look at the guys who still have all the headroom, all the available room to go up on their weight.
I mean, a ton of room to move right there with a couple hours left. I do not know that we've covered a tournament, much less a classic, where there was this many people going into the final couple hours that are absolutely still in the game.
One thing I've learned this week, if you've ever thought about betting on fishing tournaments,
learn a lesson here.
Do it. Here's just one of probably 30 things the last few days. If you would have said, if Mike Iaconelli started the day in 6th place, if he has 2 fish at 115 Will he have a chance to win? Heck no.
And he's on a lake right now where he's one more bite like the one in his live well from winning.
Yep. With 3 fish.
Eavers the 1 fish, not a bad one, about 4.5 pounds, but boy, such a change from the first 2 days of this competition, and that's a shocker. Kevin Van Dam never wavered from this approach all week long.
Unofficially, Edwin's back 11 pounds. Could that be an 11-pounder? Certainly could on Lake Conroe.
Well, yeah.
How agonizing would it be if that is an 11-pounder? You're looking at the one that looks like, by the way he's fishing, I guarantee you that fish has either bit his lure already or has come real close to it.
And we talked about this when Swindle was up here. Edwin's not a guy. If this is a 3 or 4 pounder and he's got a 4-pounder in his live well, he's not going to sit on a 4 or 5 pounder right now.
No.
Well, will not happen.
Nope.
You won't want to miss
Van Dam hooked up.
the Mercury booth kicking off the fun at 1:30 for the Mercury hat and t-shirt.
There's a keeper.
And to the Mercury booth now.
Another one? Told you the afternoons get better. They're small is the problem.
Can I have your attention, please? Pete Carrizales. Pete Carrizales.
It's all about the hooks.
Feature party at the entrance of the expo. Pete Carrizales.
Get in here in this little bit protected water. There's one to get out. Huh? 2.5. Yeah, 2, yeah. You know, if you can get into an area like this is what I've been doing, is just paralleling these walls and docks and things like that. You know, on the deeper rocks, I've been throwing that deep diving one, and up here, just the standard shallow KVD jerkbait, my own, something I've got a lot of confidence in, and it's just today has been one of those days. I guess I shouldn't have varied from my game plan, and you just never know. You know, you want to take a shot to win, and being 7 pounds back, I knew I needed to do something different. They're not all going to zero. Conroe's tough like that. It can be, this lake is fussy from day to day. These fish move a lot. There's so much bait in here. That's, you know, it's hard to keep up with them from day to day. You know, there's no one area that you can, you know, little area that you can stay and milk unless you just hit it at just the right time where those fish are coming, you know, like to the spawn, or if they're just coming out to some offshore structure spots. But for the most part, this is a lake where you catch one here, one there. You know, you catch one or two off of a spot, and you know, you might come back an hour or two later and get another bite, but it's hard to duplicate water on this place.
Little swing and a miss for Edwin Eavers right there. Boy, he's intent on getting this one.
He's been on that one fish for over an hour, and that's the first time we've seen him set the hook. That's got to be so frustrating. It's good news and bad news.
Right.
It finally bit, but so often, especially a big fish, they don't give you many chances. And he's an experienced bed fisherman. He probably physically saw that bait inside that fish's mouth, and it blew it out before he could have a chance to set the hook.
Hey, real quick, we have right now a 98% live release here. Big thanks to Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, not only in this tournament, just a big thanks to them.
Yep.
I mean,
Absolutely.
the lakes in this state, I'll always say this, if other states want to take note on how to run your lakes, great group. Besides them, all the classic pros, the high school group, the college fishing this week, everybody that helped in the transportation, big thumbs up.
Was visited by a Parks and Wildlife guy they've got a booth here, and he's saying, hey, we want people to come by, but tell us, we're thinking about changing from 16 to 14 at Conroe. So if you've got an opinion on that, they'd like for you to stop by today and voice it.
Do you have an opinion on that, Tommy? I hate to say it. I like the way this is setting up from a commentating standpoint. I say just keep it right.
Yeah,
it is. Right?
I don't think we can improve on it. I know they value announcer opinions above anything.
I'm sure of that.
Guys, what's really interesting, I'm looking through some photos from one of the marshals sending in from another boat.
Yeah, Ron.
Jordan Lee's catches. And yesterday he thought he had 18 pounds, and he ended up having 21. So if it says 24, it could end up being 26. And if that's the case, he's only down by 1.5 right now. So, you know, once they get that big, it's kind of hard to tell.
I hate to say it right now, but looking at the way these standings are, when we were watching Ayler call that line burner out of his live well, I'm telling you, as of right now, that one fish catch that gave him probably about 3 or 4 more ounces, but it was a solid keeper, not a questionable fish when it comes to the bump tank, that could be the most important fish this whole day.
Yep. We always love to see those big fish being put in the live well, and that's certainly, you need a few of those to win the Classic, but you need a few just keepers. Each fish is equally as important.
Really, and Davey, that second fish this morning, even though we put it in a live well, both you and I, we looked at each other and kind of went, yeah, that's one that's got to go.
That's one I got to check again, and I'm hoping.
And one you're thinking about all day.
Yep. I sure hope we get a look at this fish Edwin's fishing for.
I wish we had a graphic of the time going by, since he's been on that fish since before Swindle joined at 12:30.
No doubt, we're at an hour.
A couple more casts, we're gone.
Looking at Van Dam, it's hooked up right now.
Van Dam.
Small.
Talking about Jordan Lee and that huge bag he's got today, whether it's 24 or more, as Ronnie pointed out. We need to find out more about that. The guy to talk to, Robbie Floyd on the line, Triton on the line with Robbie Floyd. Robbie, what do you know about that incredible day that Jordan Lee's been having?
I'm wondering why you haven't talked about my boy Jordan Lee any more than you have. I know he might have been in 37th place after day 1 or 15th place after day 2, with a total of 7 fish in 2 days of fishing. But there was something about him yesterday, and I talked to him, and when you feel like somebody's really on and you think they can duplicate it the next day, and a 5-pound average is about what he thought he could do, he's about at that spot right now. And what I heard was later on in the day is when he caught his fish. So he has 24 right now, and I think he can increase that weight. You might still see 28, 29, a 30-pound back, maybe even bigger if they start fighting, because some people pulled up here and said, has he caught a 10 yet? You know, everybody does it. I caught a 10 there before. But the one thing that clued me in on is when I pulled in here, there was nobody, and then another guy pulled up when he saw me, and that was Sean Hornke, a guy who'd fished the Bassmaster Tour before. And Sean Hornke lives, you know, in Montgomery, right outside of Conroe, and he says, yeah, I know this spot. My partner that was in his boat won an Oakley tournament in here a few years back. He knows this spot well, and he says if he stays here, he says the big uns are in here, and he could still win, even being that far back.
Bob, real quick, if you can walk us through exactly what you're seeing, really kind of break down, if you can, what you know of that spot that other tournaments have been won on and how he's caught them today.
He was changing things up. He had a crankbait, a Carolina rig, and a jig, but it seemed like he's dropped the other two. He'll throw the other two every now and then, but he's been sticking with the jig. That's what he's caught most of the fish with. It's a main lake point. It's been tough to kind of hold position here if you're a spectator, so you really don't want to. It's a main lake point, not far from where a lot of other people have been fishing, pretty much mid-lake and to the left. But main lake point, there's a hard spot down there. As he described it, it's a shell, like a shell bed, but it's not shell. Sean told me that it's little gravel, a gravelly section. It feels just the same way. There's also some brush that are off of it. But the way that the fish converge in here, now the wind was blowing different yesterday than it is today, and that might have disturbed things a little bit. But the way that this point comes out, and depending on which way this wind blows, Sean said it kind of stirs the fish up. It almost makes like a little whirlpool where they just kind of hold this area. And for the most part, Jordan stayed on this exact spot. He'll move off of it for a little bit and come back. And this all happened after the start of his day. He had mechanical difficulties at the bridge, and he actually had to idle for quite a ways to get to this spot. Now, it is his primary spot. This is the spot. But, again, it's a mechanical issue that he had to deal with, and his boat will have to be towed in, but he'll be coming in with one of the camera boats.
Robbie, one other thing, since you're out there, you see the main lake and you have a good view of what's going on. Has there been an increase? A lot of the anglers just moving around more the way they do in the last hours of a tournament right now?
No, I haven't seen very many tournament anglers. As you asked that, somebody just went by. Could you get a call on who that was? We couldn't see. Somebody did just go from north to south. But no, not much movement at all. And I don't have the map in front of me like you do now. I'm assuming there's probably a lot of people up north and a lot of people down south, but not many people traveling between the two.
Okay, Robbie. Watching Kevin Van Dam work it here just a minute, and Edwin Eavers just swung on that one again one more time, so that's 2 times. He thinks he's gotten bit right there. Just
that looked like the male right there.
Yeah, he jerked fish out of the water.
Looked like the male.
That's certainly not what he's there fishing for.
Robbie now, okay, Rob, thank you, Robbie. We're going to let you go here as we get a little bit of action going on. Thanks so much, and I promise never to neglect your boy.
No, that's about the third or fourth time he has called all of us to the mat
Jordan
today.
Lee. I will not let him down again.
Bob Floyd is not scared to get right up in it.
That's a personal failing of mine right there.
One thing worth noting, Alton Jones Jr. told me on Wednesday, the final day of practice, that he saw 30 pounds bedding. And he said a couple other pros did too, and he just sent me a text and said Edwin Eavers is on that spot where those 30 pounds he saw bedding were sitting.
Van Dam hooked up again.
Maybe. You're going to be close. You're going to be close. I think he's foul hooked. Oh, he's a keeper. That's a keeper. Fat one. Now we're getting there. At least we're getting close.
I'm just telling you, this thing is still wide open right now if you look at the standings.
It really is.
Lots of time left. Fish number 4 for Kevin Van Dam.
You know, the crazy thing is we fished through here earlier, and I never had a sniff. And just right there, I've caught 3 in 3 casts. It seems like the afternoons these fish move in, like that one right there has got, you know, you can see it's a pre-spawn, fat belly, not, you know, fresh fish just moving up. And every afternoon that's happened, you know. In practice I was able to catch, you know, a couple 7-pounders like that. So this area right here, you know, is protected. There's a no-wake buoy at the mouth of the cove, and you know, you just can't get in here and get a bunch of boat traffic and wake it up. You just can't catch these fish with a ton of wake start around it. So, you know, I know better than that. I've tried to make it happen in the wind, and it just don't.
Hey, Tom, you know something we haven't done for a while? I was talking to Greg Hackney. He's going to be our guest after the break. He said, can we go sea pecking? I mean, can we?
You bet we can.
We haven't in hours.
I know you love it. That's why we bring it to you. That's why we feed you with Geico Bassmaster Classic Trivia, courtesy of Dick Seepeck. Tires and wheels. Here's one. Oh, with NASA right down the road there. Here's a good one for Houston. How many men have walked on the moon? Think about it. How many men have walked on the moon?
Oh,
is it 8? Is it 10? 12? Or 14
I know this.
men have walked on the moon?
Or not.
NASA just down the road, down toward Kemah, down toward Galveston, down the Gulf Freeway. Name them? That's not the question. It's how many. Okay,
Tell Zona to name them.
Trying to make it harder than it's supposed to be. We'll be back with the answer of how many men have walked on the moon. And a lot of fishing when we return.
The ultimate predator has evolved again. Now, Yamaha V-Max SHO Performance is prowling the waters in 4 hungry, exciting new models. With their 4 valves per cylinder and double overhead cam fuel-injected design, these advanced 4-stroke predators are taking performance to a whole new level. Vicious, lean, efficient. V-Max SHO. The pack is growing.
Almost 30 years ago, I fished my first Bassmaster tournament. Once you win one classic, you want another. Once you win Angler of the Year once, nothing satisfies anymore. I love the competition. I love that people are always gunning for me. I never would have guessed that I'd be the guy with the bullseye on my back, but I'm cool with that.
Toyota, let's go places.
Let us make this absolutely clear. The days of wasted casts and missed opportunities are over. New Mega Imaging takes fishing into the megahertz range for the first time, because higher frequency sonar means higher frequency of this. Without a doubt, it's the most detailed picture of the world below ever. And it's only from Humminbird.
That's awesome.
That's so cool.
It's a game changer.
This thing steers just as easy in the thick stuff as it does out there in the open water.
It's much quieter. It's more responsive.
Hit one button, you're locked down.
It's holding us right in place. It's anchoring us right here.
That new spot lock is dead on.
You know, the only fighting you have to worry about is fighting the fish now.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
The 2017 Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is being brought to you live by Toyota.
Here we go. Last hour of Bassmaster Live, Bassmaster Classic, Lake Conroe, Day 3 in a tournament that is far from over. How about we go see Peckin, Mr. Greg Hackney, Davey Height? How many men have walked on the moon? Such, I got to tell you something.
Too easy for you?
Yeah, duh, I know this. I'm going to throw it to Greg Hackney. What is your answer when we go see Peckin?
How many?
My answer is 8.
8. Davey, where do you lie on this?
All of them. All of the men that have walked on the moon.
Boy, you're about ready for live to be done, aren't you?
C, 12.
Whoa! What a Davey Height right there. Nice. But I want to talk about somebody that's been live for the last couple weeks. One Greg Hackney joining us, a pre-tournament favorite coming into here. Walk us through your practice and this event and the area you fished, friend.
I picked the right area. I undoubtedly just didn't pick the right technique. The Classic's going to be won in my primary area, so I feel like my practice was good.
Now, something that we've talked about, Davey and I talked about, you were very open with me throughout practice when you told me about that exact area. And what was weird was you used your official practice day not dealing with it up there. You knew they were there. And as your friend, it's almost like you were trying to talk yourself out of that region of the lake with the history of what goes on the bottom end.
I really feel like the bottom end of the lake are where more of those 8 to 10 pounders live at. It does seem like it, and I'm going on past experience. I've been here 3 times before for the Texas Toyota B.A.S.S Classic, and the big fish always seem to, the lower end has dominated every time. All right, so we're here you would think the lower end fish would be later to spawn. That's one thing that kind of shocked everybody. You know, the deal is the fish are not near as far along as we thought they were going to be. We're looking at this mild winter. They're actually right where they're supposed to be at, honestly, right now.
Would you mind if I hit you right now, and I mean slapped you in the face with an official TH Marine weather report?
Bring it.
Done. Let's check it out right here. Temperatures 81, sunny, wind south-southeast, 13 miles per hour. See, that's what I do.
So, Greg, explain to us the TH weather has been unseasonably warm for the whole winter, 2-3 months. Why aren't these fish farther along like everybody thought they would be?
I think we're dealing with a lake here that is almost like a northern lake in a way. You get big wind here. This lake is fairly deep for this part of the country. I think those seawalls and all are holding the lake temperature down. There's 10 degrees difference in the temperature up the lake where you have natural shoreline and on the lower end. These lower end fish, they're just now showing up. There were a lot of guys saw those giants rolling yesterday on the lower end. They have not been there yet. The weather finally, it seemed like that first day the wind kind of blew them out, and now they're showing up. But I really believe, there's nothing to break that water for it to run out on shore. You have all those seawalls, and it's almost like those big winds. And I would notice this every day of practice when I'd run out into that big part of the lake. Regardless of how warm it was outside, it felt cold.
Wow.
The few fish I caught on the lower end of the lake, when you catch one, they feel cold. All these shad spawn fish, the majority of them were pre-spawn fish on the shad spawn. They weren't post-spawn. There were very few post-spawn fish. You can tell by the fish that are being weighed in, 95% of them are spawners.
Hey, friend, why has it been so hard? Van Dam, for instance, Edwin Eavers, for instance, that we're looking at right here. How come it has been so hard to stay consistent for 3 days here? Doing as far as a dominant pattern goes.
Well, I think the biggest thing is you see now Kevin's jerking, and then Edwin's sight fishing. And I think the other deal is because most of those seawalls, the average depth's about 3 foot, you can fish over those fish and not see them. And a lot of times on a bedding fish, the only way to catch it is to visually catch it. And it seemed like the ones that were spawning up the lake were more aggressive. And the lake is it's kind of, like there's not a lot of fish weighing in, like a lot of limits or whatever, but you get 30 bites a day. Like the 2 days of, both days of the Classic that I fished, they weren't quite as good as practice, one because of the weather, but I still get 30 bites. You catch a lot of 2.5 pounders. It's just hard to catch one over 16.
Eavers, right now, we're way past an hour on this lake. The other side that people talked about on Wednesday is when fish were pulling up, Porosnik made a comment, man, they're rolling up, but they're weird here. It's like they get to the bed and they're squirrely, different from other lakes.
Maybe pressure, wind. I'm just telling you, this is a different animal from anywhere I have ever fished in March. You know, I can't explain it, but there's a ton of habitat, but there's not a ton of habitat for right now. The lake is fished incredibly small. Like anything that I saved on day one was already fished by the time I got to it on day two. This is a large lake, but this time of the year it fishes incredibly small because the spawning habitat is condensed. There are miles of area that are exposed to those boat wakes and wind wake that those fish can't spawn up there against that wall. So I think that slows the process down also. They're not big areas where just these fish can go to that's secluded.
Let me ask you this. You've won a lot of tournaments, and the key to winning is making good decisions, especially on the final day. Edwin Eavers is the reigning world champion. He's obviously made a lot of good decisions. He's got one fish in the live well. He's working on 2 hours, definitely more than one on this one fish. First of all, how big do you think it might be? And second of all, would you, after lunch, stay on a fish like that, the Bassmaster Classic, when you got one in a live well?
You know, the deal is I think his bite played out this morning on the shad spawn. We saw that go away, and I think he's grasping at straws, but I feel like if he catches it, it possibly is the biggest fish we've seen this week.
I agree.
That's what I think.
Why did that shad spawn go away this morning?
Maybe they all went to spawning. That really started happening yesterday when it slicked off and got warm. They started, everybody, like in the boatyard before I weighed in yesterday, everybody's like, I saw giants rolling. And see, that's the other deal. You can't see them until they actually start spawning, because when they roll up on their side, then you can't see the fish. You know, it's hard to see, but yesterday was the first time that's really taken place.
And that's when they get really tough to catch.
When they're actually doing the deed, you know, they're not thinking about eating. You know, so a lot of guys were hoping this morning, I heard them say that hopefully they got finished last night,
right,
so they would be catchable today. But going by the bass track, they're not.
No.
We got a couple catches right now. Jordan Lee just called up about 8 ounces, a little
Wow.
closer. He pulled in a tie, was second with Kennedy, I believe.
Hey, Greg, would you mind if I was to serve up right now the power pole replay of the day?
I would love it.
Well, let's go to it right now, friend. Fairly obvious. Earlier today, real plain and simple, Mike Iaconelli hit the spot he had not hit all week long. Now, Hackney, this is the reason you said you have to live on the bottom end of that lake.
Yeah, it really seems like you take these fish out of play the farther you go up, but yet Brent caught a 10-pounder.
And I had heard you had tangled with a few.
I saw some. They were around more than I thought, actually. But that lower end, if you ever hit the right stretch, is the place to catch 30 pounds.
Why is that?
That's just where the best habitat, the most offshore structure. These big fish, you know, there are a handful of it live on those docks. Most of them live offshore.
Did you see any this size throughout practice?
I did not. I didn't pull the trigger on a bunch of them, though. I felt them. I just didn't pull the trigger.
Looking at Mike Iaconelli early this morning, really in the first hour and a half of competition. I'll say it once, I'll say it a million times to you, Davey Height. That is our power pole replay of the day.
So far, but it's still going to be very interesting this evening. This might be the fish that would...
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I'd love to find out how big he thinks it is.
You know, Edwin is a fierce competitor. For him to spend that much time on
yeah.
one, it is a special fish.
Greg, you're a special man, and I want to talk about that region.
If I was a fish, I'd like to be caught by the reigning world champion on the final day of the Classic. That'd make me a special fish.
Understandably so. Greg, the region of the lake that you fished with Ayler, and you made the comment last weekend, you did not feel that there was a lot of that size fish, 7, 8, 9, 10-pound fish. Yet we saw Ayler on day one, which really started his momentum in this tournament. Tell us about some of the caliber that you did see that you really thought were not there.
Well, you know, the deal was, it was misleading, and I didn't really figure out to the first day of the tournament that a lot of those fish were not finished. I thought the majority of those bites in that area were males that were left.
I only spent one day on the lake and didn't go way up north, but went far enough to see that watercolor change in 72-degree water, and I thought, these fish spawned in January.
Yeah, and they didn't. And all I can figure is when you get that big south wind, you know, of course you get a north wind, a cold front, but when you get that big south wind like we had the first day, it rolls that cold water from down deep. Wow. And it does that on northern lakes too. We've seen it happen. The same deal.
That's a good point.
Yeah, no doubt. And and I just believe that because the waves don't dissipate on this lake, they roll, and it's like it sucks that cold water.
Like rolls tide.
Yeah.
Looking at Kevin Van Dam, Edwin Eavers starting to get in the better half of 90 minutes to 2 hours fishing one fish.
Somebody's going to catch a $250,000, $260,000 fish real soon here.
Give it to me again. Such. One more. Such. Well done.
Guys, I tracked down Jordan Lee's 5 fish.
Okay.
See what's in his live well. He's got 2 5.5-pound class fish, a 5-pounder, a 4.5, and a 4. So he's got all solids. His first cull of the day was on a 3.5. So,
how many pounds behind was he at the beginning of the day?
13-12.
Wow.
You know, yesterday he called his 7-pounder in the boatyard a 6. Just saying.
7-7.
And he called it a 6.
He dropped it on stage and felt very embarrassed.
Edwin.
I'm a little bit
swing and a
jealous.
miss.
it's going to happen here in a second.
Do you notice what triggered that bite?
Oh. I mean, Hackney, you nailed it. Edwin could be fishing for the one that puts this away.
Looking at it.
You seem hostile right now, friend. Are you okay?
I'm good. No, I'm great. I love Bassmaster Live. I promise you, it's addicting. I could just sit there and just, like, it happens to everybody.
Did you watch
I
this
turned it on this morning
as
soon as it came on. I was on it when it fired up. I was watching it. It is so awesome. It's changing the sport.
I know you cut up with this guy a lot. It truly has changed our sport at all levels, hasn't it?
Without a doubt. It's the best thing ever. If you're a true fan of this sport, it doesn't get any better than that.
You made a comment to me the other day while we're sitting here, and
can you say it?
I'll be honest.
Or is it going to be okay to say it?
You made a comment to me the other day at Media Day. You said, hey, do me a favor. Put a live camera in my boat any day of the week. I mean, you're all in.
Yeah, I'm all in. I think it's the best thing ever. You know, the deal before, when you watch the show afterwards, a lot of times you don't see the 2 hours that Edwin spent on a 13 or a 14-pounder. You know what I'm saying? Like the bait changes that he made to get the fish to bite. You're kind of in the boat with it. You're living it live.
I couldn't agree with you more. They would say it on the show, hey, he caught or he didn't quite catch the fish that would have won the tournament or did win the tournament, and it took 2 hours, but you can't feel that like you can now, because I feel like I've been there with him for an hour and a half.
And then when he catches it, or if he loses it, you're going to live it live right there with him.
Like, what are you doing the rest of the Classic? Are you going sea pecking? Like, what goes on with you after we're done here? Like, what happens?
I'm thinking about going to Gonzales.
I don't think there's any thinking in there, is there? There's not, is there?
Probably not.
Like immediately when we're done.
Pretty
understand.
quick. Like,
while we're watching this, I mean, one of the most critical moments in the Classic, watching Edwin Eavers, been locked on here for almost 2 hours. Kind of take us through your thoughts. You know, when we were together doing Zona Live here a week ago, he said, hey, you know, you got some Great Lakes coming up. Toledo Bend, Rayburn, Dardanelle. He said, whoa, I don't want to get there mentally yet. Now that we're done here, what are your thoughts going into those next few tournaments after you've seen that some of these lakes are not as far along as they are.
Yeah, I think we learned a lot this week.
We did, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. Hey, and think about this. There were bedding fish caught at Toledo last year. We were there the second week of May. We had almost a carbon copy winter last winter as we did this past winter. So, and the other thing, unless it comes up, they're calling for some rain, but Toledo's going to fish different. It's considerably lower than it was when we were there last year.
We talked ourselves, in this tournament, we talked our anglers, commentators, media, talked ourselves into this lake being further along, did we not?
We did. Yeah. I honestly thought that it would be, I thought there'd be a handful of big ones caught off the bed, because anytime they're spawning, somebody in our bunch will find them. Tail end kind of deal. There'd be some fry garters would be a big deal, and then those big offshore fish would probably be the deal. You know, the shad spawn, honestly, I thought would have been more of a factor. It's been like a hard shad spawn. There are miles of shad spawn there's not a bass on. Maybe it's a catfish, a hybrid. Can't catch a bass, a little one or anything. They're not doing that yet.
I think your point about what has hurt the shad spawn most is there's more fish spawning than what everybody thought.
Right, without a doubt.
Because if they were pre-spawn or post-spawn, there would be more of them up there.
You know, I knew, like, in practice, you go around and look, typically on a boat dock lake, you know, the fry will be around the post. You'll see a male fish guarding there was, it was none of that. And I kept thinking, surely they're not that far along and they're already gone, you know?
Yeah, I did the same thing. The only day that I was out on the water was with Keith Combs, and I was just looking at some things. And I saw no bass fry around those posts. I saw a few shad fry, very few bluegill, and I thought, this place isn't nowhere as far along as what we thought.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Good stuff right there, friend. I know you're headed back to Gonzales and you were headed home, and I will see you down the road. Gang, can we give it up for Mr. Greg Hackney here? There he is. He is always sea-pecking. I love it. Greg Hackney. Well, after the Bassmaster Classic, we are not done. How about Manny, Louisiana, April 6th through the 9th? Toledo Bend Reservoir. And Greg Hackney, pick that mic up. I would like to call you out. Give me a total weight, my old friend. Whew.
I'm going to say 112.
Say it again. 112 pounds. Greg Hackney, good stuff. We'll see you in a couple minutes on Bassmaster Live.
Is there a place where the underwater images are the clearest you've ever seen? We're seeing every fish, we're seeing every detail of structure, and where every bottom contour was visible, where whatever you wanted to see below the surface was real. Do you want to go? Structure Scan 3D is the future of fishing. We can show you how to find fish faster and catch fish in a way you've never experienced. Let's get them.
Eat, sleep, fish. A motto all Skeeter owners live by, with 16 consecutive NMMA CSI Consumer Satisfaction Awards. Our competition doesn't even come close. Right now, buy Save Fish with up to $1,500 in instant rebates through March 31st, including the newly redesigned limited edition FX series. Visit us for all the details at the Expo Center, booth 1225. Champions aren't born. They're created. Every turn of the prop, every mile on the lake, every cast of the rod, every fish they catch, and every pound they weigh. It builds who they are. It builds a legacy.
For your 2016 Bassmaster Angler of the Year!
If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, we call it sea-pecking. In 1958, Dick Seepeck wrote the book. He was the creator of the original adventure tire. Dick Seepeck has a complete line of adventure tires and wheels. As the originator, Dick Seepeck knows what you need. Tires engineered for adventure, traction, reliability, and durability. If you're camping, fishing, hunting, or off-roading, oh yeah, you're sea-pecking now. Dick Seepeck tires, proudly made in the good old USA.
Facts matter. All monofilament is not the same. Berkeley is the strongest, smoothest, most dependable monofilament line in the world. Why would you risk your fishing trip to a line that's made who knows where just to save a buck? Berkeley has been making and perfecting trilene in America for over 75 years. I spool nothing less than the best. That's Berkeley trilene, and that is a fact.
The 2017 Bassmaster Classic presented by Dick's Sporting Goods is being brought to you live by Toyota.
Into our final half hour of Bassmaster Live coverage of the Geico Bassmaster Classic 2017 as we get closer and closer to the hour of reckoning. That hour you need to keep in mind today, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Far from settled out there on the water in Conroe. About an hour and a half fishing maybe left to go for these anglers, and boy, a lot can happen in that amount of time. They'll load it up though, bring it all down to Minute Maid Park right there. Big crowds have been showing up. It's a lot of fun. It looks completely different from any classic weigh-in you've ever seen, and it is magnificent. It is a huge, huge stage for these guys who deserve to be on the biggest stage in the world. Mark Zona, Davey Hyde, Tommy Saders here with you here. Time for something we love and something you guys have had to work extra hard on this week. Yamaha Taste the Bait
you want to know
is an
something?
ordeal.
Now that we're at the last part of our Yamaha Taste the Bait, in all honesty, it has been a challenge this week. A lot of our anglers have been, rightfully so, very guarded. And this has been just minor changes, minor tweaks in tackle is what put a lot of our anglers at the top of the standings. One of those anglers, my partner in crime, Davey Height's pick coming into this final day, was Dave Lefevre. Dave Lefevre, one of the best jig fishermen on planet Earth. And if you take a look at his jig right there, you just say to yourself, wow, that's just a usual typical jig. That is not true. There's little subtleties about that homemade jig. Number one, it's a 5/16 ounce jig. The other thing is there's way more skirting material in that jig to give it a very, very, very slow fall. And he said, we even used this description. He said, you almost have to fish it like a shaky head, really, really slow, a super chunk trailer, but every single bass that Lefevre has put on the scale, that jig.
And you had to know why he was my pick, because I've had some pretty decent luck on jigs in my career, and when a guy's dialed in on a jig bite like he was, it's always a good thing. The next deal I wanted to talk about is Brett Ayler. And Ayler is catching a lot of them on a Senko, and there's some on a D-shad, more of them on a D-shad. I think we got the Senko there's the Senko and the D-shad. I want to talk mainly about the D-shad because he has caught so many of his fish on this particular bait, and it's a soft plastic jerk bait that not many people flip and pitch at all. Most people fish this in open water around a shad spawn and that sort of thing, but he's been pitching it in really, really thick cover. The key for him is figuring out exactly which sticks, exactly which cover, and he's in really shallow water, close to a little deeper water. He's been pitching this bait up in 12 to 18 inches of water where he's been catching a lot of his fish weightless, and it's got a very unique fall. This particular bait has got a unique fall. It goes down horizontally more so than straight vertically, like we talked about with the creature baits, the ones that seem to work best this time of year. And this is what he said he caught all of the fish he weighed in yesterday on.
And the other side of it is, you knew that was the only thing he was doing in that area. Nobody else doing something like that. Another angler we've kept our eye on all week long, Mike Iaconelli, and it's almost been, he's been a little bit more hodgepodge. He is not throwing those spinner baits down at the bottom of your screen. He's been starting the morning with a Carolina rig lizard. He's been throwing a Berkeley lizard. The other side of what he's been doing, this one right here did come on the Carolina rig, and what's been interesting about this tournament is not a lot of bites on this lizard.
Oh my God, 10 pounds.
Not a lot of bites, but the bites that he has got, they've been like this right here. And what's amazed me was he's put it down relatively quick throughout the tournament.
Yep, we talked about that earlier. If he wins, obviously he's made all the right moves, but I just wonder, the plan that he said he had last night for today
Davey, I'm
started
out
out
on something.
110% correct.
I'm going to call you out on something. He made the comment, I'm going to fish on the bottom end of this lake for this size bass to win this classic. He catches that bass. 2.5 to 3 hours in, bails on it.
Yep.
Where do you sit on that?
Well, it's all a matter of making choices, making decisions. That's why I asked Greg Hackney up here a while ago. You've made a lot of decisions. What's your decision? Because we all have different ones. the plan that I thought he was very firm on was working out incredibly well.
Right.
The first day he stayed down there all day, and it wasn't easy.
And it didn't happen until 11.
He had a better start today than he did then. Sometimes you get too many things going on in your mind. Like I said, we'll know at the end of the day. That's a great thing about sitting on this side of the table. But
you realize Edwin Eavers has been on a fish right now for over 2 hours?
That's unbelievable. I will give 2 crankbaits to see this fish, just to see how big it is.
Something I'm just curious. We saw the replay of the Iaconelli fish a moment ago. And Ronnie Moore, tell me now, what weight was that fish entered as?
Which one?
The big one from Ike. What was it?
It was entered as an 8-pounder.
Entered as an 8-pounder.
Conservatively.
Okay.
So we think he's a pound and a half.
Could very well be.
Yes.
Could
so
very well be.
He's a lot closer than, yeah.
He's got an 8 and a 3, so it could be a 9 and a 3, it could be a 10 and a 3. So at most, probably 13 pounds. At minimum, 11.
You immediately began catching flack online, did you not? Or from your correspondence, Ronnie, when we declared it a 10 or near 10, right? You started hearing from people who said,
for sure.
Controversy.
For sure. There's post-spawn fish that look bigger than they actually are. There's pre-spawn fish that don't look big as they actually are.
It was over 9.
For sure.
It was over 9.
We will. We'll see if it tops the 9-12 Berkeley Big Bass.
Berkeley Big Bass so far has been 9-12. I remember looking at that when he pulled it out. I'm going to tell you, Iaconelli's is right there.
A lot of guys are thinking about looking at that fish. It only weighed 9-12, and that was a bruiser, but it was post-spawn. Had nowhere near the girth that the fish that Iaconelli caught this morning had. Nowhere near. Oh, wow.
We just understand that Edwin Eavers has, after 2 hours, invested on the last day of the Geico Bassmaster Classic.
Over 20% of his day on that one bass.
He has left.
That's what happens. It happened to me. I can't say what happened, what was going on mentally in Edwin's mind, but obviously it was a big fish, so you know, hey, I got to commit some time to this fish. And then it starts getting personal because, hey, it's between me and this fish, and I'm going to make it bite. And then you get so close, and he had a chance or two. He set the hook a couple times, and I mentioned they usually don't give you many chances. And then you see it just going away, and you think, I can't leave now. I've invested too much time. I've put too much time in this fish. And then you really see it go away, and you go, wow, I might have just blew the tournament right there.
Well, and you look at it, if it was a 9-pounder, he's only down by 11 pounds, and that one hook set gets you back in the game. So it's hard not to stay on it for that long.
Oh, I'm not saying he did the wrong thing.
Especially with the shad spawn killing him like he did.
Hey, real quick, who does Bassmaster Radio, Tom Abraham, does a great job on Bassmaster.com.
Right.
A couple of years ago, he lives in the area where Jordan Lee's from. He said, hey, tell me a little bit about Jordan Lee. When we covered him, I thought, gosh, he was like a freshman in college.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
And I made a comment to him probably a year or 2 years into his college career. I said, he's the best we have ever covered.
Yes.
By far and away, the best we have ever covered. Stumbled a little bit in his first classic at Lake Conroe. Well, in all honesty, and this is not a slight to Randy Howell, Jordan Lee should have won that classic.
Really?
He should have won that classic.
Roared back.
Slipped a little bit on the first day, but if he would not have slipped on that first day, he would not have won it. He would have blown it away.
He only had 12 pounds that first day.
12 pounds the first day. Dominated the next 2. But you look at what he's done here.
Oh.
One of these days, I don't know, maybe today's the day.
He only had 3 fish on day 1, was 37th place, and he climbed to 15th yesterday.
Say that again?
Jordan Lee only had 3 fish on day 1, was 37th, and he climbed to 15th.
Just imagine blowing that record out of the books, coming back from 15th on the final.
And sitting in 3rd place.
You're talking about Jordan, though. I want to put my 2 cents worth there. When I did First Look for a few years, it was really cool getting to just be there with veterans that I had fished around my whole career but really didn't know very well. So it was cool doing that. But it was super cool getting to know the young guys. He was so impressive.
Yeah.
And last year he was this close several times. I told him, your day is coming. Your day is coming. I can see it. you don't want to tell a guy, I don't see it in you, but certain guys, you see it. And I saw it in him, and I told him, your day is coming.
No.
And it could be today.
And here's the thing. Before everything is said and done with Jordan Lee, he is going to go on in this sport as one of the best. I truly believe that.
He had one fish yesterday, underestimated by 1 pound 7 ounces, 3 ounces on each of his fish today, and he's above Elam.
Stop by booth 2019, tie a knot that beats the stated break strength, and take your turn and go for a chance to win one of 3 prizes. Berkeley, booth 2119.
Can I give you one more?
Don't do
go
it to me.
sea-pecking
Don't
one
tease
more
me, number
time.
one,
Come
Sanders.
on, can we join as a group and go sea-pecking? I think we can. I think we can do that. I think we can pull that off one more time on our Bassmaster Live broadcast here. Classic trivia. Name the 2 Houston Rockets who are among the NBA's top 12 tallest players ever. I think we probably know both of those. I'm thinking we know both of those. But who are the two Houston Rockets among the NBA's top 12 tallest players ever?
I think I know this. Why don't we go right?
We're going to go right to the answer.
Let's go sea-pecking, man.
Okay, what's the answer, guys?
Give us some names.
I'm going to go Akeem Olajuwon.
Yes.
Davey, you can nail the next one.
God, what was Manute Bowl or whatever? What was that dude's
Yao
name?
Ming.
Yao Ming.
Yao Ming.
Bowl.
Let's see if that's right. There
Now
we
one
go.
of them.
Oh, Ralph
Ralph
Sampson.
Sampson.
We forgot Ralph
Twin
Sampson.
Towers with Olajuwon. Twin Towers.
Twin Towers.
No. End of the show. Wheels coming off. I don't feel like I'm sea-pecking anymore.
I used to watch
You'll
You'll get your stamina
I'll
back.
try to get it back.
Yeah.
I'll
Ralph
be ready for the
Sampson
late.
played for Virginia. I remember him like yesterday.
It's all good. I get more money when you guys get stumped.
No.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
That means you're buying tonight.
Okay.
There's always an upside to everything.
Winner's buying tonight, but we're going to have to find that out.
If you're, all the classics I made, if you think you've even got a small chance, this last hour is unbelievable. It is so intense, because you know you're not going to have many chances to make the classic, and then when you make it, you got some of the greatest fishermen in the world that are in here working today, so they didn't really have a chance today, obviously. But if you think you've got just like 1 in a million chance, you are giving it 110% right now.
Other side, looking at Brent Ayler right now, he said the main enemy of his area, the main enemy is wind.
Yep.
Only thing
And
he has,
blowing.
and the only thing he has in his back pocket, gang, he's got 1 point down the lake. He's got a set of about a half dozen stumps on it. Has not hit it throughout this tournament. Saved it for the last day. And he looked at us and said, if it's got 1 on it, it will be a big one. Is that the spot?
I hope that's not where Jordan Lee has caught 24 or 5 pounds, because he said he hasn't been there all week, so he doesn't know if anybody's even fished it or not. But the reason, for those that haven't been watching the whole time, the reason the wind has been Brent Ayler's enemy, he's trying to fish that D-shad weightless, and the wind pulls his line, and that bait can't fall like it needs to fall.
Brent Ayler hooked up.
I don't think he's going to do anything. Okay, don't mind hopping up, buddy.
I can back up some. What's that? Yeah. Thanks.
You're good, buddy.
Another thing to keep your eye on is Van Dam on his right only has 4 fish in the live well. Van Dam told us after the weigh-in last night, last 2 hours were really, really solid for him yesterday.
Been talking about Brent all day, and rightfully so. He's held on to that lead for the better part of the last 2 days. And Brent Ehrler, a guy who, boy, just the fact of him being here is a little bit of a minor miracle, because last season for him was, as you say, Davey, up and down. That was all it was, up and down. We got through the Potomac River there pretty near the tail end of the season with one event left to go, and he just not getting it. But he did do well at Potomac. He started to build back. A little bit of momentum happened there. Kind of got sidetracked again on the Mississippi River, but went into the final event of the year, which is the Toyota Bassmaster Angler of the Year, the AOY tournament. And, man, just desperate, absolutely desperate, needing a Hail Mary in order to make it to the Classic.
The thing was, he barely made it into that, and it's so hard. You make the top 50, go into that Toyota AOY. It's a hard road to hoe. You've got to have a really good finish in that final tournament also. See him.
Oh man, you know, I got very little time left right now, and the fishing is not good right now. I mean, I have not had a big bite, but I mean, I'm in the area where I have been having the bigger bites, so anything could happen right now. If you know, I mean, it's not over. There's plenty of time left to catch 2 big fish and put me in there. I'm not, you know, I'm not completely out of it yet. The fishing is definitely tougher today, and you know, for bigger bites, the last couple of days it's been fairly easy. You know, I didn't have to work at it. Today I'm working at it, and so far it hasn't happened. I'm kind of fishing in the area where I've been fishing them, but I'm fishing other spots that aren't, you know, I'm not just going over the same stuff. I don't feel comfortable with the exact same spots where I caught them. I probably will hit my best area at least one more time, make a fast pass through it, but I kind of feel more comfortable looking for something new right now.
Live. Can you talk to me? They want to talk to you. Man, talk to me about the 2-hour fish you were on.
I'm pretty stubborn. Someday, my shad spawn deal, I had all the bites I could have asked for. Not that I didn't get the bites this morning. They would not get the bait. And I don't know why. I don't know what was different this morning that they wouldn't get that bait. It's aggravating because, man, I had a lot of bites, you know, and kind of frustrating. And then I went to some bedfish. A couple of them were gone. The first big one I went to was gone. I found a new big one, and I could not get that fish to get up there and settle down. It was just horrible. I lost the male. I don't know. We're gonna have to pull a rabbit out of the hat, a miracle right here, and get big comeback mounted. Fish offshore, I feel like that's the best way that I can put, 4 big ones in the boat in a hurry. Not that I've done that all week, but can't really go sight fishing for an hour and a half and catch 4 big ones. And can't really go flipping in an hour and a half catch 4 big ones, so I'm just trying to really play the odds in my favor. If I can fire the school up out deep somewhere, it's really my best chance to make that miracle happen.
A little bit more time.
Fishing an old pond down here. See fish one.
Sorry they asked me to come up here.
Is that a sponsor spinnerbait you're throwing?
Yeah. To a boss.
Not very big, but it's a fish. There's at least a bass, too. Plug was bigger than that bass, though.
While there, and Robbie, we understand he just culled up again. Is that correct?
He's within ounces where the fish look like they're twins. But I mean, he's getting the cull right now close through every single one of them. Just when you thought the right side was bigger, the left side would drop down. Fish are still alive and healthy. But you talk about how usually the lake will turn on all over at one time. If that's the case, it turned on because he caught 2 fish within 2 minutes. He was going to start heading back with his cameraman boat because, again, he had mechanical difficulties. But with the fish turning on right now and him theoretically near that lead or in the top 3 for sure, he'll probably stay here and fish as long as he can and still get back with enough time. But the fish have definitely turned on in this spot.
Robbie, real fast, kind of walk us through again quickly if you can. How is he catching them?
The same thing. He's throwing the football head jig. He just picked it up. I mean, he's alternating baits, but really the football jig's been what's done it, or a jig. I can't see that far. I'm staying away from it. But it's a main length point. There's a hard spot on the bottom. I mean, we're out in the main lake, literally. It's been deep. It's been rocky. But the wind is really, I think, probably been the difference today. It's coming, from the south-southeast. He called him yesterday. He just didn't get his limit. He told me he saw 1 or about 5 fish with his when he brought it up. He's around. He just couldn't get that limit those first couple of days.
Bob, you're usually pretty solid on gauging weights.
Oh.
Kind of tell us what you think you might think he has in the live well, because as of right now, I mean, this is going to come down to ounces as we have it.
And I have to see him at distance, but I mean, I think I heard Stooge say it. If you just give him 3 more ounces on each one of these bass, he may be near the lead. So it is close. In 25, I mean, we would put it around there. I mean, I think that's a number that he could definitely attain, 25. But I'm telling you, there's bigger ones than the one he had, and they all look like twins. He looks like he's got almost 5-pounders, but I know there's a 6 in there, so he definitely can help himself.
So 4 and change is probably the smallest one there. He's got to catch bigger than in order to upgrade now.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. 4 and change. I mean, there's much bigger fish in this area than what he's seen. I mean, you talk about how I caught that big one. Okay, that's fine, and he catches his limit. But I'm telling you, here in this spot, there are bigger ones. These are the mid-range ones. So he's catching, mid-range 5-pounder. But I'm telling you, 7-8 not out of the question, just like he's catching these 5 and 6.
Bob, how about the depth zone we're talking about in the area where these fish are coming from?
What do you think the depth is there? Right about 10 feet probably where he's fishing. I mean, we're out probably 20-something feet, 25 feet looking at it on the main point. But yeah, probably about 10 feet.
Could you reset for us one more time just when this mechanical issue cropped up for him and what it has prevented him from doing, what the nature of it was?
It really didn't affect him much other than his getting back, but he was running up the lake this morning and he got some type of warning, felt something not quite right. So he just went ahead and went idle speed from the bridge to the point that he's fishing. This was his intended spot, but he had to get there just a little bit slower, and he's camped out. I mean, he's camped out in this area the entire time, and that was his plan. So it hasn't affected his fishing much. Getting here and getting back is what it'll affect most. He'll have to arrange with his camera boat guy and get his fish, put it in his boat, and take time off his day.
As tough as his first day was, is this a deal that he found during the event? Has he told you that, or was this something that he was checking and they're finally just showing up?
He didn't tell me other than yesterday this was his spot, this was the thing. So I don't know if he was here on that very first day, because you don't generally talk to the guy that only caught 3 fish on the first day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's still 52 other guys you're thinking about. So I didn't think about it. But when I saw it in his eyes yesterday. When he only had 4, I had no idea there were 21. But when he had 4 and they were that size, and him saying he physically, like a schooling fish, schooling fish later on, that's what it was like. And he's the only guy I heard say that they have schooling fish in the 5-pound range. And you and I both know if you catch 5 5-pounders, that's 25 pounds.
Robbie, your best guess as to his travel time and how much time he has left to fish. That's the number we're looking for.
The number we're on right now, I'm looking at my clock. This is the exact time he said he wanted to do it. But with the fish turning on, he may delay it just a little bit. But we're an hour out from check-in, and it looks like he is talking to his camera boat guy. I may ride in with him. I'll have to talk to Trip and see if he'll let me. But, now's the time to head up there. And I'm sure he's got some places he'll still fish to end out his day. I mean, he's got 25 pounds in the live well and a very good shot of winning the Bassmaster Classic.
As we think back to last year's Classic, I mean, he's not aware of where he sits vis-a-vis the leaders right now, is he?
What was that, Tommy?
They're not supposed to know that.
This year, no Bass Track.
No Bass Track.
They can't look at Bass Track and they do. I mean, if somebody yells it when he goes by, that's something. If he hears me,
that's
talking,
what I was thinking of. Yeah.
That is what it is. I'm a little downwind from him, so I don't know, but I mean, it is possible. But how many Classic we've been to, and the guy's up on a dock going, "Hey, man, Mike Iaconelli just caught a 10-pounder." I mean, we hear that all the time.
Hey, Robbie, these guys know when they're in the hunt, and Jordan's pretty sharp. How many spectator boats are around him?
To be honest, 3.
Wow.
4. Yeah, but we're on the main lake, and everybody was, following those guys way up north. We probably had 4 boats at most the entire time. I mean, Towboat U.S. is pulling up. If you count one of them, we've got a constable over here to my right. He's had really not much pressure in this one area. It's been really good to him, and he's right now repackaging his fish and getting ready to make the ride up, and hoping he still catches a big one that can kind of put him over the top and not even have to worry.
Robbie, great stuff.
Great stuff.
They're just on top of it, totally. One of the biggest breakout stories of this afternoon, and this is the most important afternoon of the tournament.
Some will bet, as young as Jordan Lee is, he's got good ears. I bet he's hearing, even though Robbie's away from him, he's hearing some of that stuff. So that brings me to my question. He had some issues. He has to go back in a boat that he has no experience in. He doesn't know how reliable it might be. Do you really fish to the last minute because you might catch one that'll help you just a little bit and win the Classic? Or are you a little conservative? Because he's taking his backup, basically. He will, if something happens, he'll be done on the way in.
I'm going to throw you something else here real quick. There might not be a lot of spectators giving him the notion that he's in the hunt, but if Robbie Floyd shows up to you, you know instantly you're in the mix.
Yep. Good point.
Talking about being in the mix now, guys who are still in the hunt as we go down to the wire. Take a look at the two.
Wow.
The statistical tie, really, at the top right there between Ayler and Lee. Kennedy not far behind. Elam got some room to grow with 4 fish, 2 fish for Iaconelli. That's still the most dangerous thing out there, I would think.
Those top 3 are too close to call. And then we've got about 5 other guys that if they catch 1 fish could win this thing. Incredible.
But if Jordan Lee pulls this off, it'd be the greatest final day comeback in Classic history. Previous one was Randy Howell.
Yep.
He was 11th place, 9 pounds back, and Jordan Lee was 13 pounds, 12 ounces back.
And I'm not going to call Kevin Van Dam that he saw the future, but Van Dam has said multiple times, you're not going to see the winner coming. Said it to us both. Yep. You'll never see him coming.
I thought you were going to say you're going to see Jordan Lee win a Classic one of these days.
No,
sooner rather than later.
That was the other day.
Boy, that felt good.
I think a lot of people have said that, though.
Well, I did the first look with him several times when he had second place finishes. And when you talk to a guy multiple times in a year and he's the bridesmaid, your heart starts going out to him, especially a nice young guy like he is. And you're like, you're going to win one. You're going to win one. It's not going to be very long. And I meant it. I wasn't just trying to console him. I meant it. But sometimes the best thing, in my opinion, the best thing can happen to a young guy because the Classic will spin veterans out. We've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
The best thing can happen to a young guy sometimes.
Not win.
Not win or not think he has an idea that he can win. He just wants to make a good final day for his sponsors. Oh, my gosh, I won,
what
too.
happened?
And I won.
He had 3 fish on day 1.
Yep.
This guy ended 2016 with 4 straight top 12s. He was only second to Swindle. He had 5 top 12s all last year. It's very impressive.
So when you think Ayler's going to leave to go fish that point with stumps on the side?
I don't.
We're going to miss it on.
I want to stay in his boat for 30 more minutes.
Yep.
Brandon Holiday. Now with 18:33 for the next 30 minutes.
All the Classics, David, that you were still in it. Still there fishing on the final day. What's the biggest move you made, or if any move, that you made in the last 1 hour?
The biggest move I made was the worst move I made in the last hour. I lost one that I had to lead with less than an hour to go. I was young. It was my second Classic. I got caught up in the moment and didn't stay focused in the last hour. And I learned a valuable lesson. Just like you say, the best thing can happen to you sometimes is not win. And that's the best thing that happened to me. I was able to win later because it taught me a very valuable lesson. And what it taught me is, do not ever think that you're out of it, especially when camera boats are coming around. But I just got caught up. They started asking me questions like, how is this going to change your life? I'm like, oh, boy, I just won.
Look at me.
Watch this cast. Wow. I can do it behind the back.
We've got an update here right now. Let's go sea-pecking with just a little trivia on how much money was raised. Breast cancer awareness, Gerald Swindle. The shaving of the beast is what I call it.
Look at that
How
total.
about that?
Wow.
Swindle, Luke
That's
Duncan, T.H. Marine.
Hoping for $10,000, and they'd more than double. That is really solid.
That is great.
For a great cause, and nobody got hurt, except a beard.
Swindle looked so different for a while with that beard, and that picture without it, all of a sudden, who is that guy?
He's going to have to get a tan on his chin now. I hadn't seen the light of the sun in a while.
What a lot of guys said, this lake is boom or bust, has really played out.
Mentioned the biggest thing that happened in the final hour for me in my career was not staying focused, and I learned from it. All of these guys look like they're locked in, they're focused. Can't see Jordan Lee, but I'm betting he is also.
Another one of these youngsters that's poised beyond his years. We talk about James Elam and Bradley Roy, but he's at the top of the list.
That high school and college competition makes veterans out of young men.
He's multiple college championships, national championships for Jordan Lee. What a time to have to leave you. Don't want to do it.
Don't want to.
Man, we've run out of time for our broadcast. We knew we'd be shy of the final hour of fishing, and probably less now than an hour of fishing for these guys out here, but that's part of the scheme here. That's the reason we have a weigh-in. That's when all the answers will be rolled out. The Classic weigh-in coming your way at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Bassmaster.com if you're here in Houston. Drop on by Minute Maid Park. It's a spectacle, a unique classic. You'll be glad to have said, I was there. If you can make it over there, please do that. Our thanks to everyone who's been a part of this.
One thing that I want to say to you, Tommy Sanders, Davey Height, Ron Moore, all the production crew behind me, everybody at JM Associates, I'm serious. This was one of the most incredible classics I have ever covered with you.
Appreciate it, Zona. Appreciate everyone. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you at the weigh-in.